According to the World Health Organization, WHO, in the children and young people's mental health. The Case for Action publication of 2nd June 2025. Globally, about 1 in 7 children and adolescents ages 10 to 19 have a mental health condition, with anxiety, depression, and behavioral disorders being common. Welcome to the most thoughtful and compassionate summit on mental health for children and adolescents universe. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on, give it up. Give it up, give it up, give it up. If you're excited to be here, I mean, you should do better than that. Come on. Again, welcome. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. The voice you just heard, which is mine, is none other than the voice of Sharon Paul Ojinibo, aka TSP. And when I'm not ministering to youth and young adults, when I'm not counseling clients or communities, and when I'm not writing, I am elevating events to an 8-star rated status. Thank you very much. All right. Distinguished professionals, distinguished leaders, distinguished parents, teachers, and guardians, distinguished students, distinguished future leaders, champions of change, distinguished voices of change, representative adolescents, young adults, students, pupils, partners, and distinguished guests. I welcome you to not just the summit, but a bid to reduce the statistics, a move to change the narratives, a movement not just to stir conversations, but to equip and arm parents. And so, I welcome you this morning to the Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit 2.0. Welcome. All right. Okay, so I just want you to, for 1 second, look to your left and look to your right and just say welcome to the person beside you. Tell them they look nice. Tell them you're glad to be their seat partners. And tell them to fasten their seatbelt because they are in for a great ride. All right, without further ado, I want to crave your indulgence, distinguished guests, to please be on your feet as we would be taking the third stanza of the national anthem, the new one. Okay? I want to crave your indulgence. Please, let's be on our feet. We are patriotic citizens. Thank you. Once again, we'll be taking the third stanza of the new national anthem. Media, are you ready? Thank you. O God of all creation. Thank you, media. We're taking the third stanza. Thank you.
And Nigerians all and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign in this our battle honored, and this we count as gain, to pass unto our children the banner without stain.
God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You may please be seated. Thank you. Moving along. Once again, distinguished leaders, distinguished parents, we welcome you to this auspicious event. You are mightily welcome. All right. To drive the conversation further, Simon Sinek says people will not buy what you're talking about, what you're selling, rather, they will buy the why. And so, to establish the purpose for which we are here, as Miles Monroe says, that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. I want us to welcome on stage the convener, Mrs. Convener, Mrs. President and Founder, Mrs. Family Psychologist, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogukomi, Family Psychologist, as she takes her opening remarks. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogukomi is a seasoned family psychologist, mental health consultant, and international speaker with extensive experience in promoting mental health, well-being, workplace productivity, and emotional resilience. She's passionate about equipping individuals, especially leaders, executives, and professionals with the knowledge and tools to manage stress, enhance mental health, and optimize performance in high pressure environment. And as a convener of the Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit, Mrs. Oluwatoyin has also been instrumental in mental health education and advocacy, particularly in the areas of child, adolescent, and family well-being. Her expertise spans corporate mental health programs, work-life balance training, and resilience coaching for individuals and teams. And together with her husband, Mr. Taiwo, Miss Oluwatoyin co-founded the Glick In Youth Development Academy, which, fosters the development of young adults into independent, well-balanced, and productive members of society. And when she's not convening this event, she's also doing community work, being an author, publishing books and ebooks to her name. And so I want us, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate Miss Oluwatoyin Ogukomi as she comes for our opening remarks. Thank you. We can do better. Don't stop clapping on she's here.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation to be part of this summit. And I want to say thank you, first of all, to God Almighty for giving me the wisdom and the idea to bring this together. We started this summit on Thursday with a virtual summit. So we had a virtual summit on Thursday and on Friday. And today is a physical summit. So I just want to thank God for this. And I also want to thank my husband. He's on his way. He's doing some background, arrangement. He's going to join us very soon. And I also want to thank my dear sister, Dr. Chichi. She's our pastor here, but I call her Dr. Chichi. Dr. Chichi Haibe for giving us this venue and for giving us the support. Thank you so much, ma. Now to my speakers, I've worked with almost all of them, either on the job, in programs, or in one form of activity or the others. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And to our students, thank you for being here. To the parents, thank you so much. And to all the educators, thank you for coming with the students. So I have a message that I've written out. I'm going to read it because I just need to articulate my thoughts onto paper. Because if you should leave me, I'll just go on and on and on and talk. So I'm going to read out my speech. Then from there, we continue. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. So it is such a joy to see all of you here, parents, teachers, caregivers, and mental health professionals. Thank you so much for being here. This is the gathering of one common goal, and that goal is to nurture the minds of our children. When I first thought about creating the Smart Parenting Summit, it wasn't just another idea on paper. but it actually came for the burden I carried. So I've worked in the mental health facility for almost 4 years. And each time I see a patient, especially the young adult or an adolescent, by the time I speak with them, I notice that some of these issues actually started when they were younger. But because some of the parents were not able to identify the symptoms of these illnesses or this stress, they were not able to do anything for them. So that's the burden that I actually carry, that how can we help children? What is happening to the hearts and the lives of the minds of our children today? And when I look around, I see beautiful, talented, young bright African children, full of potentials. Yet some of them are silently struggling. They are smiling on the outside, but their minds are tied. They're performing. Yes, you see them going, they're functional, but deep down, they're not thriving. And I thought to myself, something needs to change. We can't continue like this. We can't continue having children who look good outside, but within them, they're not thriving. I don't want to say they're not okay, but they're not thriving. Some of them have distress. Some of them are battling with depression. Some of them are battling with anxiety, yet their parents or even educators don't know about it. So we often say, so they're smiling on the outside, but their minds are tired. They're performing, but not thriving. And I thought to myself, something needs to be done. So we often say education is the key. But what happens when the mind holding the key is weary? What will happen to the child? And that's where this summit comes in, to remind us that beyond feeding the body of our children, beyond sending them to school, we must also feed their mind and their soul. A child's mind is the garden of tomorrow. What we plant in it today will grow into the world we are all going to live in tomorrow. So what we're putting in our children today, they're actually our future, they're future leaders. The future we want to see tomorrow, it starts from now. So what are we feeding the minds of our children? What are we putting into the minds of our children? And this is why we are here today, to have this conversation. This summit was created to start meaningful conversations about how we, as parents, educators, and caregivers, can protect that garden, their mind. How can we help our children to build resilience, not by shielding them from life, but by preparing them for it? One of my books that I wrote, Preparing Your Adolescent for Living, for Independent Living, that's the essence of that book. We need to prepare our children for the future. So the future you've not prepared your child for now, that future would not exist for them. So we need to prepare them for that future. You see, protecting a child's mind isn't about over-sheltering them. It is about teaching them emotional strength, helping them understand who they are, and reminding them that they are enough, even in a world that says otherwise. When we protect a child's mind, we protect their destiny. And that's our mission here today, to raise a generation of children who are not just academically smart, but mentally strong, emotionally balanced, and spiritually groomed. Throughout today, you will hear from amazing speakers. When I say amazing speakers, I mean amazing speakers. You will hear from amazing speakers and panelists who will share practical tools and insights on how to support the African child, how to help them manage pressure, develop self-esteem, and build resilience in a changing world. Please, can we clap for my husband? He just came in. Thank you, sir. That's my worry. Thank you so much. So as you listen, I encourage you to reflect and ask yourself, what can I do differently today? How can I create a home, a classroom, a space where a child would feel safe enough to grow? Because raising children isn't just about rules and routine, it's about relationship and reflection. Every child deserves to be seen, to be heard and understood, and not just managed. If we can get that right, we can truly see and understand our children. We are not only changing their stories, we will change the story of the next generation. So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be part of a movement that believes the African child deserves to thrive and not just to survive. Together, let's keep nurturing young minds, building resilience, and promoting the well-being of every child. One conversation, one act of love, and one intentional moment at a time. Welcome once again to the Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit. Let's make it time. Thank you so much.
Come on, we can do better. We can do better. If you know you're excited to be here and not anywhere else, because I believe that time is an investment, time is money. So really, you could have been anywhere else. So if you took some time out to say that I want to be here at the Mental Health Child and Adolescent Summit and nowhere else, then you should show it. So please, once again, give it up for Miss Oluwatoyin Ogukomi. Yeah, that's much better. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, you're making my job easy by responding. Thank you. All right, so moving this conversation along, we have, a port. We have, would I say, let me leave it at that. She's coming to drive home the theme of this summit, the African child. And I want to believe we know that, the climes that, are available for the Nigerian space is different from the Western. So we need to know what works for us. So just in case some of us have been, carried away by the by what is obtainable in the Western climes, someone is here to remind us of our heritage. Someone is here, to tell us who we are, who the African child is, and as an ambassador to speak on behalf of the African child. And I believe this is where the students should be excited because you have someone representing you, speaking for you, right? Okay, all right. So very quickly, let's welcome on stage Jennifer, Jerry, and Wisdom for their presentation. Thank you.
Want to be happy. I never want to be happy. Don't ask me why. Happiness fades away whenever you're sad, but joy remains through the good and bad. Happiness makes me vulnerable. It brings me to the point of weakness, but joy is the source of strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength. I found myself in a bad place and I decided to stay. I became addicted to the hurt and pain, familiar with the pressure and shame, all because of the worst he ever created. A special called man, even God regretted. Always come around when they need something. Put you back in the trash when they get what they want, because a friend in need is a friend indeed. So they only consider you a friend when they need something from you. Trying your best to impress them, but never good enough. Doing all you can to please them, but never prayed enough. Speaking from experience, I know how it feels to love someone when they never love you in return. It's a broken heart. Enduring all the hurts and pains, scorn and shame, all of the betrayal from men, I came to realize and understand how Christ felt when he was nailed to the cross solely because he chose to love us. A smiling face, funny, stabbed with the back with the same knife they gave you to cut a birthday cake. The words should bleed. I have a problem with people saying I miss you too. They don't really mean it. It's just a common reply to the I miss you first say. Never learn to please any man, only learn to please one man, God. Judging a book by its cover, it's wrong. Everybody has a different story. Don't believe everything they say to you about others. That's how they tell others about you, painting a picture of what they never saw. Common peace we often forfeit, or what need less pain we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. What is space we pray? I compose all my pictures in his wallet tag. Love, joy, peace. with 6 others. You see, men can only give you happiness. That's why they could take it away. But this joy I have, the world can't give it. This joy I have, the world can't take it away. Happiness fades away whenever you're sad, but joy remains through the good and the bad. The joy of the Lord is my strength.
Can you hear that?
Hear what?
The heartbeat of Africa, beating with the same hands that beat our ancestors.
I've heard enough already. Enough that makes my head go nuts. I am cracking up by the motion of the heartbeats of African and fear that's held our back on the ground for so long. Back to where these children were brought up from. They were taught to move alone, carrying lonely minds and crying to themselves, not because they have no voice, but because they were taught. Emotions are weakness, tears are shame. Even when their soul is breaking, they were taught silence was strength. Crying, go pray, go sweep, go sleep. You see, my friend, I still hear echoes of silent cry, tears racing down their cheek. I blame nature for bringing them to a world that lied to them, that they had to embrace culture that has been lying to them. Me that is still lying to them. You continued and keep lying to them. I blame nature for bringing them to a world where their future is unknown, where there are limited opportunities, ultimate poverty, violence, and hunger, rejected by education, but learn only to embrace illiteracy. So let's break the silence. Not with noise, but with understanding.
But you see, my friend, do you know that these silent cries and silent nights can be laid aside as a mere nightmare? But if, and only if, we can hear the heartbeat of African children and listen to their hearts speak. If only we can invest in their education, because education is power. We learn from heroes past that black don't crack. African giants will emerge again, that we judge injustice, and just know that jungle justice just is the wrong way to thrive. Thank you.
So let's teach. So parents, let's teach our children that emotions aren't weakness. Let's teach our daughters that their voice matters. To the dear African child, you are not broken, you're becoming. There is strength in your story, healing in your light. You're loved, you're seen, and you're never alone.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, Jerry, and Wisdom. If you loved and appreciated that presentation, please appreciate them. Thank you so much. Let's break the silence with understanding. Let's do what? Break the silence with what? Understanding. And that is what we're here to do. I remember speaking with Miss Oluwatoyin some days back, just asking her, what's the why? I get a million and one, summit conferences every day. If you check the statistics, I mean, there's a conference going on right now, all over the world. But what's the why? And just like Simon Sinek said, people don't care what your what is. They want to know the why. And I was touched by what she shared. She said she came to the point where she discovered she was always angry, always anxious, just lashing out. And she, came to that moment of truth, self-awareness that this can't continue. I'm hurting those around me. I'm hurting those I love. And I love the action that she took. She said she went for an emotional intelligence class. And guess what? She found out that there's a whole lot that she didn't know. And I love what she did again. She took a step forward and said, no, I can't take this. I can't be the only one privy to this knowledge. No, I need to equip other parents like me who don't know what to do, who are clueless, who are, going around with this buried anger, anxiety, and hurt and trauma from their, background and all. I need to help them, and that's why we're here. So please, once again, give it up for Miss Oluwatoyin Ogukomi. Thank you so much. So moving along to one of the most interesting parts of this conversation. Permit me. I know you would say that is there some sort of obsession with Miss Oluwatoyin? No, I just met a phenomenal woman, and I just want you to know about it. So there was something I didn't tell you. There's something I didn't tell you when reading our bio, and that's what I want to do now. Miss Oluwatoyin Ogukomi is a seasoned family psychologist, mental health consultant, and international speaker, like I said earlier, with extensive experience in promoting mental well-being. Hold on, follow me, I'm going somewhere. She is also, experienced in promoting workplace productivity and emotional resilience. And her background in clinical psychology, she has made her specialize in mental health awareness, stress management, emotional intelligence, and leadership well-being. And over the years, which is where I'm going to, she has trained and worked with corporate organizations, senior executives, and mid-level managers, helping them develop strategies to maintain mental wellness while excelling in their professional and personal lives. You know how they say that birds of the same feather flock together. Because of her, wide range of expertise and the people that she has worked with. Like she said earlier, I know these people, I've worked with them. So this leads me to the point where I invite distinguished leaders, distinguished professionals, men and women in the educational space, in the mental health space, and what have you. My goodness, when I read the bio of all the panel speakers, I was wowed. And it's such a privilege and a honor to be in your midst. And to lead this conversation is the delectable Miss Chineko Ore. Please give it up for her. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here. While I was sitting by the side of Mr. Taiwo Ogunkomi, when she was speaking, she kept on saying Miss Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi, and he was there saying Mrs. He had to emphasize that because I'm sure he paid the bride price in full. Good morning once again. My name is Dr. Chineku Ore, and I count it a privilege to be here this morning. And once again, I'd want us to celebrate the brain behind this convening, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi, and of course, the one that paid her bride price to Mr. Taiwo Ogunkomi. We are not clapping well. We are not clapping well. Do you know why I feel that we should celebrate her specially? Because the truth is, a lot of us observe issues in the society. And what we do most times is that we sit back and we complain. But the truth is that we cannot see change unless we take a step and make the change happen. And one thing I've seen her do consistently over the years is that she did not sit on the sidelines. She did not wait for anybody to give her permission. She gave herself permission and started working in uncharted waters. I think we should celebrate her. In the season in Nigeria where mental health is almost seen as an anathema, she was one of the voices I heard first who started speaking about this and speaking about this consistently. Also in the space of parenting, I've seen her consistently with her smart parenting initiatives, charting a course that today many other people have dared to step into. So once again, let's celebrate Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. I celebrate you specially. She's my sister, she's my friend, she's the mother of my children. So today we are going into a very important panel session. We are going to be inviting some experts to join us here. And the theme of this session is protecting the minds and overall well-being of our children. I'm a Christian, if you permit me. And the Bible says something. It says, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. The mind is a battlefield, and the mind determines the output of our lives. So if we are not talking about the mind of our children, then we are making a mistake. And today we have specialists from the mental health space, from the education space, from the policy circle who are joining us today so that we'll have in-depth conversations. And I believe that at the end of this panel session, all of us will be able to leave with actionable steps that when we take it to our different spheres of influence, we will be able to drive change. So join me as we make welcome the first panelist, Dr. Shoyombo, who studied medicine and surgery at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos between 1998 and 2005. He holds a fellowship of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, Faculty of Psychiatry, and a master's degree in gerontology from the University of Southampton, United Kingdom. Dr. Shoyombo works as a consultant psychiatrist at the National Hospital Abuja, the nation's flagship hospital. Dr. Shoyombo is keen about physical exercise and believes in the saying, "What is good for your heart is good for your brain." In his spare time, he enjoys reading and playing squash and badminton. He is married to Victoria and they are blessed with 2 children. Can we clap for him one more time? Please join me to make welcome Dr. Alex. Dr. Alex Stephen Agara is a highly experienced clinical psychologist with over 21 years of dedicated service in the field of mental health, addiction prevention, and treatment. He holds a PhD in clinical psychology and is renowned for his deep clinical insight, compassionate client-centered care, and strong advocacy for evidence-based interventions in the treatment of psychological disorders and substance use issues. As a United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime Certified Drug Prevention, Treatment and Care Professional, Dr. Agara has worked across diverse sectors, combining clinical expertise with global standards in addiction management. His extensive career has involved clinical practice, policy advocacy, rehabilitation programming, mental health training, and the implementation of therapeutic models in various community and institutional settings. Dr. Agara is particularly recognized for his ability to navigate complex psychological presentations, deliver trauma-informed care, and lead multidisciplinary teams in delivering sustainable recovery outcomes. His work bridges the gap between clinical psychology, public health, and humanitarian services, making him a trusted figure in both national and international mental health circles. Please, let's clap for him one more time. We see that Mrs. Ogunkomi took her time to select people who are not just talking for the sake of it, but who are grounded both in expertise and in qualifications. Please join me to make welcome our third panelist and the first female in this panel session, Mrs. Chioma Moma. Chioma Moma is a policy lawyer, corporate strategist, author, coach, and parenting advocate. She is the head of policy and public affairs at Guinness Nigeria and has an extensive background in the regulatory public sector. She is passionate about family life, parenting, gender, and education, empowering women through coaching and conferences. Chioma holds degrees from Obafemi Awolowo University, a law degree, Anglia Ruskin University, an MBA, and University of Exeter, an MPA. An accomplished author, she has written The Not Perfect Parent, Wisdom for Women, and children's books such as First Day at the Big School and Fun Trip to the Village. She also leads the literacy initiative, Let's Encourage a Reading Nation. Chioma serves on the board of the Association of Children's Authors and Illustrators of Nigeria, ACAIN, and contributes to Bella Niger and Leadership newspaper. She shares insights via her blog, social media, and YouTube, and is married with 4 children. Please let's clap one more time for her. She is also my sister, and she's doing amazing work in this space, even if I say so myself. Then we are going to welcome Mrs. Abiola Oduwusi. Mrs. Oduwusi is an education innovator, an entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in educational leadership, instructional design, and entrepreneurship. She holds a BSc in mathematics and economics from the University of Benin, a postgraduate diploma in education from FCE Zuba, and is pursuing a master's in organizational leadership, a Goldman Sachs Women Enterprise and Leadership Scholar, and Pioneer Awardee of the federal government's You Win program. She is recognized for her commitment to advancing education and youth development. She's the founder of Lela Blossom School, which she built from creche. I see your supporters are in the house. From creche to an accredited senior secondary institution. That is a feat indeed. Mrs. Oduwisi is a visionary leader, mentor, and consultant who has trained in education management across Nigeria, South Africa, Dubai, and the USA. A philanthropist passionate about educating the boy child and supporting families. She is also a devoted Christian, wife to Dr. Wole Oduwusi, and a mother. Let's clap for her one more time. And last but not the least is Dr. Nancy Ojinta. Dr. Ojinta Nancy Kenechi is a consultant psychiatrist and fellow of the West African College of Physicians with over a decade of clinical experience spanning public and private mental health care. She began her career at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, Lagos, and currently serves as the consultant in charge of the Olieso Wellbeing and Recovery Center, Gwarimpa, Abuja. She is also a lecturer at the College of Medicine, Veritas University, Buhari, Abuja. She is passionate about preventive mental health through lifestyle management. Dr. Nancy consults for Sleep 729, co-authored a book on lifestyle and mental health, and is the founding clinical director of PsychGam Services, a pioneer organization in gambling addiction research and treatment in Nigeria. Gambling is actually quite pervasive in our country today. Both young people and adults struggle with this, but it's enlightening to know that we have an organization who is pioneering treatment and research in this sector. She's trained in the supervision of problem gambling treatment, and she collaborates with organizations such as gambleaware.ng and is committed to normalizing mental health conversations through numerous trainings and media engagements, including sessions with FIRS Abuja, the British Embassy, and interviews with CNN, BBC, NTA, and others. Beyond her professional roles, she volunteers with NGOs to mentor young people and is passionate about music, reading, and meaningful connections. One more time, let's put our hands together for all the panelists. And I want to ask the organizers, please, are we streaming this live anywhere? Please, is there a way we can get the link projected somewhere so everybody in the hall should begin to share the link with people in your network? Because these conversations are rare and everybody needs to be a part of it. So if we don't have a means to project, I wouldn't mind getting the links written out and I could say it so you take notes and share. Please, what's the platform? Let's all share so that we can learn, because what we're about to get into now is serious business and everybody needs to be a part of it. Thank you. Okay, I hope you can hear me.
So, like I had said earlier, this panel session is on protecting the mind and the overall well-being of the child. Because when the mind of a child is not well, the entire future is at stake. I heard a young man say sometime recently that he feels he needs to go for therapy before he gets married because his mind has gone through a lot. Now, this is a young man that I would say to an extent is self-aware. He understood that a lot of things that has happened has affected him and he needed to do something about it. But the sad truth is that most people do not even realize that there is a problem. And because of that, actions are not being taken. And we see people paying for mental health issues and pushing it to the generations that are to come. But with sessions such as this, the aim is to break that negative cycle and begin to chart a new order for our younger and upcoming generation. So we are going to be going deep into this conversation, and I'm so glad that we have experts in the house. Please, if you have your writing materials, take notes, because one thing I always say is it's not about what you hear, but it is more about what you do with what you hear. So as you are listening, ask yourself, what step can I take? What action can I take as an individual in my society, in my family, and in my spheres of influence? And after you do so, don't just say so, begin to take action, and we all will be better for it. So our first question today goes to Dr. Shoyombo, who is a psychiatrist at the National Hospital. So we are going straight to the foundation, and we want to ask, from your experience, what are some of the common signs that children or adolescents are struggling with untreated mental health conditions? What are those signs that we see? Because we don't have these conversations, so we have a lot of conditions that are not being treated. So what are those signs of untreated mental conditions? So as you are listening to him, please ask yourself, the young people around you, have you observed any of these signs in them? So Dr. Sheroko, please could you enlighten us on that?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Before I dive into the question, let me take the liberty to congratulate Mrs. Ogunkomi and to tell Mr. Taiwo Ogunkomi that his twin sister, Mama K, was my music director and school mommy in university. And the light is in my face. I don't know if that's Pastor Tayo Falano. Morning, sir. What are some of the signs of untreated mental illnesses in children? This is a loaded question, but the approach I will take is this. Think of it in two ways. Number one, is there a departure from that child's normal behavior? So you were pregnant for this child, you gave birth to this child, you've raised this child. Has there been a change from how this child has been from the beginning? That is one approach. The second approach is this child significantly different from other children his age. So this child is 7 years old. What would the behavior of a typical 7-year-old be? If there is a significant deviation from that, then there could be a problem. I'm approaching it this way because when you talk about signs and symptoms, it will depend on what the illness is. And if we spent the whole day here, we possibly couldn't exhaust all the possible disease conditions and their signs and symptoms. So we'll look at some of the illnesses with onset in childhood. We've all heard about things like autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, etc. We've probably read about those things. What I say when I have these conversations is please avoid checklist diagnosis. Your job is not to look at a child and carry a list and say this one a day, that one a day, and then you stamp a diagnosis on that child. In psychiatry, basically, we are looking for the presence of symptoms and we are looking for how those symptoms affect the functionality of that person. So, for example, a child is restless, but is passing his exams. He behaves well in church or mosque. Why should we slam a diagnosis of ADHD on that child? If it is not affecting functionality, there will not be need for any interventions because the concept of normality itself is on a wide spectrum. All of us are not the same, even we that are adults, or we do not all behave the same way. And children will exist on different points on that spectrum. I'm sure that in the course of today, we'll have reasons to touch on a few specifics, but I'll leave it here for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. These some key points to take. Don't do checklist diagnosis. The important thing is every child is a specific way. So when you notice anything that is different from the usual, or you notice something that is a far departure from what you have with people within the same age bracket, then you might need to look deeper and probably consult an expert. Thank you so much, sir, for that insight. The conversation is just starting, and this is just for us to lay the foundation. Now we are going over to Dr. Alex Agara, who is the substance abuse specialist. Like we all know, substance use is on the increase these days, and it cuts across both gender, across people of different ages, and it's actually getting worse by the day. So, sir, from your clinical experience, how early are children and teens being exposed to substances, and what substances are most common today?
All right, thank you for that question, opportunity. But before I answer or respond to this question, I'd like us to do briefly an exercise. We have parents here and we have children and students. With the exception of Dr. Nancy and Dr. Chisom, you are not part of this. I don't want to call it experiment. So please, can we all rise? Okay, so it's just simple. All I'm going to ask of you is to do exactly what I say. Do you get me? And after you do exactly what I say, nobody should make or ask any question and don't change your action. Do you understand? So I'm just going to do something or a gesture and you do exactly what I say. Do you understand? Remember I said do exactly what I say you do. So your fingers this way. Everybody. Look at me and do exactly what I say. All right. Now place these fingers on your cheek. Now go. Quickly. Stop. Is this your cheek? Those of you who place your fingers here, is that your cheek? So why did you take your fingers here? All right, let's sit down. I'll tell you why. I'll answer this for you. Now, the essence of this, okay, as parents and children tend to do more of the things you do rather than the things you say. So I asked you to do exactly what I say, not what I do. So I took my fingers here, you all watched and went there. Instead of listening to what I said your chin, but you went this way. So the same thing applies in your homes and children. So the point here is, children would do more of the things you do, what they watch you do, rather than what you ask them to do. Okay? So, in response to your question, I'll start by saying about 2 weeks ago, let me just use this typical example. I have a patient who is on admission now for rehabilitation. And he told me he started exploring with drugs as young as 6 years old. And he started with vape. Do you know what vape is? So, he liked the smell, so he smoked. And he got that smoke from his father's staff. Afterwards, as he was growing up, he started experimenting. From age 10, he started smoking cigarette. And currently he's 18. By the time he started university year 1, he started smoking cannabis, which is marijuana. And the cannabis he's smoking now is the synthetic cannabis, which is popularly known as colos. Colos is a synthetic marijuana, which is Colorado. So, the substances, the most common substances are usually cigarettes, then alcohol. Now, why it's alcohol? This starts with homes whose parents take alcohol. So you can't take alcohol in your home and don't expect your child to be curious in wanting to try it. You can't be a parent and smoke cigarette and don't expect your child to be curious to try. Hell, I'll tell you, even when I was a child, I never had parents who smoked or drink in the house, or when I saw people smoke. And so what I did was I would roll up paper, light it, and pretend I was smoking. I inhale, I cough. So if I was in an environment that cigarette smoking was rampant, it means I probably would have started smoking cigarette because I was already curious. And then I was interested in cigarette. And if my parent were cigarette smokers, what do you expect? I definitely would smoke cigarette. Don't you agree? So these issues begin from the house, from the homes, then social influence, friends, relatives. This patient I'm telling you about started smoking more of cigarette. He started with marijuana. Before going to university, he started smoking with marijuana from his step brother. He started smoking from him. So, but the most common substances that children start with is usually alcohol, cigarette, and some pills. But the pills are not so common. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that insight. For me, I feel that there's some things that we should take out from what he said. Environment matter a lot within and outside the home. You know, sometimes when we are choosing schools for our children, sometimes we're only looking at what's their performance in WAEC. But really, is that all that there is to it? People can actually stay at home and study for WAEC and they'll pass. So there are a lot of other factors that one should take into consideration. When the school your children go to, for example, is where they spend a good chunk of their time every blessed day, much more if they are boarding schools. So that tells us that if the environment affects or influences our children so much, we should be very intentional about which environment they are placed in, whether it's school, whether what they're exposed to on media. That is another environment that is very powerful because, like he said, he was watching people using cigarettes. His parents neither smoked or drank, but because he saw that, it piqued his curiosity. So that is why we also should be very mindful about the kinds of media programs that our children are exposed to. I'm sure that we'll delve more into these as the session progresses. So we've looked at substance abuse, but like we said earlier, one of the vices that are on a steady increase in our world today is gambling. Gambling is such a big deal, and gambling is quite addictive. That is why you see people that are struggling with gambling. They know they don't want to do this. They see their lives being ruined, but they don't have the power to stop it. So that is why it is a very important conversation to have this morning. And thankfully, we have Dr. Ojenta in the house to help us. So I want to ask you, madam, from your clinical and addiction work, why are gambling, cyber risks, and substance use considered hidden threats to young people's mental health? Why are they considered as hidden threats to young people's mental health?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Before I proceed to answer your question, I just want to say well done to Toyin. Toyin works with me in the hospital. We're in the same clinical team of mental health professionals, right? Psychologists, doctors, and everyone. And she's just a very she's so self-driven, self-improvement. I'm like, just like setting the pace without anybody even trying to compare how to do those things. It just impresses me. So as I say in Igbo, Jide Kiji, that means hold on to us. Like, what you are doing, right? Continue, you are doing very well. Thank you for having me here and inviting me for this conversation. In preparing, I was just thinking there's so much to speak about protecting the child, they are good. So as you've said, and everybody has said too, let us keep it to basic things, but everybody goes home with something. So as regards the hidden threats, when we say there are things that are hidden threats to the mental health of children, is that those things are not even easily perceived by parents as threats. Any parent who want to ward off a dog trying to bite their child, for example, you can see that very clearly and you are preventing that. But then when you now have hidden threats that you don't even know about, they will not even be doing anything about them because some people know that they're even there, for example. So talk about things like gambling, okay? People think that gambling is something that people just do in casinos. Some people think that way. But I've seen patients come to me and they show me how they gamble. Of course, it's on their devices, on the phone that they have, and they have different ones. And not even all are sports betting. Some are just there on the apps on the phone, and they just get used to it. And they don't even understand exactly why they're always playing this game all the time. Many people here play Candy Crush because even adults was there scrolling like wow. Then imagine how those Candy Crush, right? Then imagine if you now have a reward attached to it. There's a desire to gain something. And he's impressed. I'm just impressed looking with young people and the dreams they have. A young person wants to buy a car. I'm like, wow, I want to buy a car. Why? Because they see on social media, their friends, their age are buying cars for their girlfriends and everything. And also, they're very impressionable at that age. So this is literally affecting them. Even have their mindsets being changed. Like some content that they view start changing their ideologies little by little. They begin to doubt themselves in basic things. Start wondering whether I should really be a girl or I should be a boy. And people actually have guys having their own also on their own after a while of being a normal girl, a normal boy, start having gender dysphoria from what they viewed online. These are hidden threats and parents are not even aware until you start seeing the signs when it's now advanced. Of course, just as normal, one start okay, she's growing, she's a teenager, hormones here, she's a table here and there. I think it's just normal growing up things, and parents are so very busy. You also that something is going on with this child, is changing. And they're now aware. So I think things like that, even cyberbullying as well. They are there, people are bullying them. Like, imagine adults now, you make a post, nobody likes it. Or people are bragging you as they say, they're just imagine they are not harassing you on what you posted. And imagine a child who is seeing influencers, how many followers, and they want to do the same thing and be popular in their class, in their school. They are compelled to do things that ordinarily they should not even be doing. Okay? Want to send their nudes to one friend that wants to impress, and then the news now gets to share the whole class, they want to die of shame. How will they tell that they are mommy? Most probably they will not, unless you're actually aware or attentive to these hidden threats and begin to have conversations early. I think I'll just leave it at this for now.
Wow. Please let's clap for her. This is a call to be watchful, but not necessarily to be paranoid. So there's a difference between paranoia and being watchful. So I just want to encourage us while we learn, let's not become paranoid. The knowledge we have is light that will help us to do better. And when it comes to addiction and things like that, it just seeps in silently. I discovered one game on my phone, Blood Blast, and I'm like, I'm always trying to beat that highest score. One person told me, I think I want to download this Blood Blast, so I'll have something I'll use to relieve myself when I'm too stressed. And I told her, please don't download it. Don't download it because it's quite addictive. And this is how, like she said, gambling is. So we need to be very mindful about the ways these things seep into our homes. It's not just about us locking our children inside. While they are still inside, there are high chances of being exposed to these things. So thank you so much, Dr. James. I will still come back to you for more. Now, I believe that any solution we want to approach has to come from an ecological approach. We have to look at the different actors in the scene. So we are looking at mental health experts. We also need to look at the education system because, like we said, our children spend a good proportion of their time in school. So this question is going to be directed to Dr. Abiola Odose. And ma'am, I just want to ask, from your experience, how would you describe the current state of mental health awareness in our schools today? Does it go beyond World Mental Health Day? What exactly is the state of mental health awareness in our schools?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and I want to say thank you to Tony. Thank you for this invitation. Yeah, I'll just go right to it. What's the state of awareness of mental health in our schools? Is it just about the celebration days we have? The truth is, we are going to be looking at it from the entire country, that's Nigeria. If you want to look at it with what is happening now in the country, we are not there in terms of our schools. We're not really talking about mental health as we're supposed to talk about it. You know, when I sat with Dr. Alex, we just said something about mental health a bit, that the focus usually, you know, when people think about mental health, first thing you think about is mental illness. But for children growing up in this generation, it's not about mental illness. It's actually about everything that concerns their development, the physical development, the social development, emotional development, and a whole lot. And you know, we're still having the challenge of, you know, school is seen as cognitive. Like what you said, it's not just about passing WAEC exams, but a lot of parents still look at school from the mindset of, even parent society from the mindset of, we are here to pass exams, teach my children and all the rest. But interestingly, as an educator, our job is to raise a total child. We talk about the Bloom's taxonomy, when we're even to writing our lesson notes, we are writing lesson notes at the level of the cognitive, which is the intellectual capacity, the affective, which is the social and emotional development, and also the psychomotor. So I would say that the awareness is there, but it's not enough. We need to do more. We celebrate those days. We have programs in schools. Now, I'm coming from the private sector. I'm also aware of a lot of things that are going on in government sector, because we have there's a lot of funding in the country about mental health, maybe from United Nations, UNICEF, and all the rest. So there are a lot of programs going on, but generally, we need to be more deliberate. One of the things that they are doing now, we're doing as schools, either public or private, and especially in Abuja, that I'm excited about, is the issue of child protection. So there is a child protection policy, and there is safeguarding policies, and there's a kind of crusade to ensure that schools understand what the content is, and beyond just having it as a document, there's also the implementation. A lot of programs are being put in place to help the school, the teachers, the staff of the school, and then also parents' awareness about child protection. So based on that, I'll say we are trying, but we can do more. We can do more.
Thank you so much. We are trying, but we can do way more. And I think the doing more has to go beyond what we see in the urban areas, because most times these interventions stop with higher profile schools in the urban area, but it doesn't cascade down to the hinterlands where we have the larger population of Nigerians living. And for us to have any intervention that is actually long-term sustainable, we need to have a systematic approach to it. And that is where policy comes in. What are the policy frameworks that are backing this? So I just want to go over to our legal luminary in the house. So from your legal and advocacy background, how well are the current policies in Nigeria addressing the mental health and well-being of children? She had already talked about child protection and safeguarding policy, but beyond that, what are the policies and how well are they really protecting the mental health and well-being of children?
Thank you, Chineku, for that question. Before I answer, I want to just greet the Ogunkomis. And I'm greeting them both because Tony has done an amazing job in the area of mental health, parent support. And she's had an amazingly supportive husband. So please clap for both of them. They have done an amazing job, and I'm proud to call them my friends and my family. And of course, the host, Dr. Chiche Ibe, and all my sisters and brothers. I will not call any names again, so I don't enter trouble. I see a lot of my people here, and it's great to be here, and the moderator, Dr. Chineku, and of course all the medical people on this panel. It's been an amazing panel. I've been taking notes. My sister Biola, you've all spoken amazingly. And like you said, like you touched on, we do have some of these policies in place. We have the Mental Health Act 2023, and then we have the Children's Rights Act, which some states have gone ahead to domesticate. But we all know the issue in Nigeria is not about laws. It's not about the policies. It's not about the guidelines. We have plenty. The issue is implementation. Are we implementing these laws properly? And one thing that hinders implementation is also not properly domesticating the laws to fit our purpose, to fit our client, to fit our context. A lot of times we just go and take one law from New York and come and bring it here, and it might not really suit in because we have our own cultural context. And culture is a big issue and a big hindrance in this whole mental health issue. Because let's think about it. A child starts acting different, and the parent is like, what's wrong with you, Seth? They're like, why are you acting funny? They're not thinking that there might be some trauma, there might be something going on. They're not seeing beyond the outer and saying there might be something wrong. And I'll tell you, one story to illustrate this. There was this guy I knew growing up, very, quiet, wonderful man, wonderful young boy. And he started, acting a bit out of sorts. And his parents were alert and they were like, don't mind him, he likes being silly. That's how he behaves, always acting for no Zuzu. They started calling him as he likes fooling around. And this Zuzuing, as they called it, continued into university. His roommates even called the parents. There's something wrong with this guy. He's acting weird. He does some funny things. He will leave food, he will burn, there's something, and they were like, they dismissed it. And he went on and on onto this depression, which was some minor depression, went into manic depression, went into full-scale schizophrenia. So he went from having a mental health challenge to having full-blown mental illness. And I tell you that boy, 20 years on, he has not recovered. Something that could have been nipped in the bud had his parents taken it serious and not said, maybe a spiritual problem, maybe he's just been silly, maybe he's just acting the fool or playing the fool. And that cultural issue is really the thing that really affects. We can make all the policies we want. If we don't have this kind of conversations, if we don't begin to change the policy frame, the mental or the cultural framework, that's really what the framework that's the most important in this our society, the cultural framework. How are people perceiving these things? How serious are people taking mental health? And this is saying, we don't have mental health issues. It's a lie. Nigeria has the 15th highest suicide rates in the world. People think, I'm okay, all the trauma I went through as a child, it didn't affect me. We have these issues. So beyond the policy, we have them. The issue is implementation.
Thank you so much. Please, let's clap for her. I'm privileged to work in the public health development space. And one thing I've seen is that when it comes to laws and policies, Nigeria is not lacking. It comes down to implementation. Another thing I've seen is that we need to really focus on social behavioral change. We need to go down to the community because no matter how much the government pumps in, if there is no change in the way people view things socially and behaviorally, a lot of things will not change. So that awareness creation is very critical. And like I said, we have to adopt a systems thinking approach in handling these issues. We are going back to Dr. Sherwood. Like we have said, most parents, when they hear something about that something is off with their children, they normally do not want to accept it. I don't know whether it is denial, I don't know whether it is ego, or like Trauma said, whether it is as a result of culture. So I'm taking it back to you, sir. Why do you think that parents and caregivers, based on your experience, often delay seeking professional help for their children's mental health illnesses? Is it that they don't have the money? Is it the stigma? Or they just believe that it's, God forbid, it's not my portion?
Well, I think Chioma started us answering that question. You yourself, you've provided an extra answer. So I will just build on both answers. Number one is people can be dismissive. You see, when you have a fever, your body is hot, you are vomiting, you are shivering. You won't dismiss the symptom. If somebody falls down and breaks a leg, they put POP. All of us will go and greet him in the hospital, will sign on the POP. Abi, we will not dismiss the symptom. But if somebody is unhappy and holed up in a corner, whose business? If he's supposed to be at work and he doesn't show up at work just because he doesn't feel like getting out of bed and he doesn't even feel like sending a message to HR that I can't make it, at best, he gets a query. Worst, they sack him. Abi? So people can be dismissive. The other reason would be that these symptoms are not easily recognizable to those who are untrained. Now, if you merge those two reasons together, you will now see that almost every mental health symptom can be called another name. We can call depression laziness. Abi? We can call psychosis possession. And what you name it will determine how you respond to it. If we say it is laziness, we beat the living daylight out of the child. If we say it is possession, we take him for deliverance. The other reason would be stigma, and that is the big reason why people don't seek treatment. It is not in our family. If we ask all of us here now, we will say mental illness is not in our family, and we will all be big fat liars because it is there. Almost everyone, in fact, every one of us has one obscure family member that doesn't come for wedding, burial, and you just don't see and the person has not died. But just don't see him anywhere. But because they didn't put a name to it. You know, it's common. Dr. Jinta will tell you, you are taking a history from patients and you bring a child, you ask the parent, is there a family history of mental illness? Say, no, maybe the father's side. And then you ask the father say, maybe it's the mother side. So these are the reasons for delay. Another reason would be sometimes people don't even know where to go for help. Number one, you see a symptom you don't understand. If you don't understand it, you will not know where to seek help from. So just as a summary, not knowing where to seek help from, being dismissive, stigma, okay, denial. Some people see it clearly, and I'll close this with a very horrendous story that I treated. A girl was brought in from the prisons before they changed the name to correctional service. And she was brought in for mental health assessment. And what had she done? She had beheaded her own mother. Her mother had a mental illness that they treated traditionally. When the girl started showing the same symptoms, they did not treat her until it got to the point where she beheaded in this Abuja. So these are the dangers of not seeking. So what perpetuates the stigma in mental health conditions is actually delay in treatment that makes symptoms worse. And I'll tell you some other stories later.
Please, I don't want us to let go of that thought line. So based on what you have said, what practical steps can parents take to overcome some of these things that you have mentioned, whether it has to do with stigma, not being able to name what it is that is a problem, or not being able to know where to go and seek for help? What are the practical steps? What can we do? And when you're answering, please could you answer based on, first of all, what we can do internally amongst our family, and then what we can do to help the common man and in the communities that we find ourselves in?
Again, when Choma was talking, she mentioned statistics. Let us all agree that we are part of the statistics. When we say 20% of Nigerians will have a mental health condition in their lifetime, it includes you and I. Don't do like this. So we must first accept that we are part of the statistics. If we can wear glasses and we can use antihypertensives and we can use diabetes medications, then we can have psychological challenges also. Another practical approach is to know that nobody deserves to suffer. If a child is suffering, you should seek help. Dismissing the symptom will not wish it. You cannot wish it away. By all means, we believe in prayer. But can you please treat while praying? Pastor Falano, I always tell people, we know that the pastors are our senior brothers. Why? They can pray for the person they do not see. You can write your name and take it to Pastor Abi. You can send the picture of your child to your pastor or to your imam, and they will pray. And God will do what? He will answer. But the doctor can only treat the person he sees. So even if you decide that there must be spiritual intervention, can you please also follow the medical treatment? After all, if a witch causes an accident to happen, and in that accident you break a leg, who will treat the fracture? Is it not the orthopedic surgeon? Even though it was the witch that caused the accident. So practical steps also, make sure that whatever other treatment you are doing, don't neglect medical treatment. Another horrendous story in a few seconds. Medical student developed mental illness. They took her to one malam somewhere who was sleeping with her. By the end of it, she had HIV and all that. That is not proper treatment. Another thing we can do, talk to other people. It is unlikely that you are the first person that is faced with this problem. If you don't know who to talk to at least the educators. that child is in a school, those people have seen other children, it is likely that they've encountered the same scenario and they'll be able to point you in the proper direction. And the school that my children go to, I've treated at least 3 or 4 people. How did I get into the matter? It was already at a stage where the school was saying they have to bring medical report for them to allow them to stay in school, or they were advising the parents to take them to special schools. We don't encourage special schools. We want these children brought up in mainstream education as much as possible. Forget about the distinction. Leave distinction for distinction candidates. Let this child just continue and follow through to have some independent living. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I just want to say that medical practitioners, I know that you are faced with a lot of clinical work, but when it comes to advocacy and awareness creation, I think that it's important that we need to be a part of those conversations. We can leverage our social media platforms to begin to raise awareness, because the truth is, most people don't even know who to ask or where to go to get the right kind of information. And they might ask someone innocently, and the person trying to help might direct them to something or somewhere that will worsen the child's condition. So I understand that you're very busy, but if you could, consider having that social responsibility, as it were, or an aspect of your work that involves, using existing platforms to educate people, I think it will go a long way. Because when it comes from a professional, there are higher chances that people will take it, better. Thank you so much, sir. And I'm going over to Dr. Ojimton. You have talked a lot about, social media, phones, and how it could be an access route into gambling and other cyber risks. And the truth is that we are in a digital age. So will we now say that because we don't want our children to be exposed to these risks, then they will not have access to technology, phones, tablets, laptops, and what have you? So what I want to ask is, what are the practical steps that we can take as parents and caregivers, so that on one hand, we are protecting our children from these hidden threats before they escalate, but on the other hand, we are also ensuring that we are raising children who are fortunate to have been born in a digital era and who need these devices as tools for advancement.
Thank you very much for the question. So I'll say everything we do, is a choice, and there should be trying to weigh the benefit and the risk of that thing for a child. Yes, most people need gadgets today, right, from a younger age, but we need to also weigh the benefits, and also being aware of the risk to that child will also inform the steps parents will take to prevent any harm coming to them from that. So now talking about those threats, as you asked earlier, on the children's mental health or young people's mental health, what makes a child different from an adult? And why do you have to say they are minors and need protection? We need to understand that clearly, because that will help us now think of what should we now do about giving it or not giving a phone. What is an issue at all? Okay, so yes, a child, you see how children grow, you know that a child doesn't know anything and needs help for every single thing. But the point, they grow physically, they even become bigger than you in size, in weight, and they can talk more than you. They appear so smart, but they are not there yet. Their brain is developing. It's a process, and most times, most parents don't know that actually this child is still not thinking right. Doesn't have everything clear yet in their sight. So if a child is playing in the same field where adults are, for example, social media space, for example, what you can understand and learn to handle from your own experience, the child does not have that. So coupled with physical development of their brain now, and the experience they even have in life, they are not able to handle those things that they should handle. So you should be discussion about, is the child ready to handle those things? Is he able to handle what can cause and the cause that can come from using a device, for example? So this should, as you say, asking them for practical steps now, it should be a conversation to understand clearly the pros and cons. And a child, even though they are young, they can be very, they want to know what their friends are doing, they argue, they don't want to listen. But most times, they'll actually be able to listen and understand if they explain to them clearly. Okay. So actually on a journey of growth, of maturity, right? Acquiring common sense, it's not really common to acquire common sense, it takes some time and experiences, but it should be a journey of growth. So between two of us now, knowing how you really can do things, are you ready for this thing? Am I ready for it? Okay, why do you want it?
and why do you not have it. So if it's actually very clear, I can have this discussion and say, okay, yeah, you can have it for X, Y, Z, this is maybe for school work. And of course, when schools start making it as if you must have this gadget to early age, that is not right. I mean, our teacher is here. I don't know how to manage that. Because sometimes just trying to I don't know, make things seem complicated just make it seem as it's very important. And is it really necessary? Maybe when the school doesn't even see a phone and they still do very well. So trying to understand really what the risks and the benefits of this thing for this child and what can we put in place. So keeping in mind their brain maturity and being able to handle those things as they should. So one common thing I know that people do should be aware of is the digital well-being. I mean, I actually experienced some phone and it's there very clearly, digital well-being. How many people actually use digital well-being feature on their phones? I mean, a child should also be able to know and own the desire to have some digital well-being. I'm not saying that Daddy says by 10 o'clock off your phone, whatever it is, and they should own it and want to desire to it. And of course, as they say, they do what they see parents do. If you're on your phone scrolling the whole night, it's past time, say, bedtime, go to bed and you're still on your own phone, laughing at want to stay out there. They want to follow suit and be on that social media till 9. So, for having that teacher well-being plans can help a lot. So you have like app timers, for example, or what apps you're allowed to have on your phone, or you should know that you have apps on your phone, and what time do you use for that? If you look at television, for example, some parts in their homes that on weekdays, not television, for example. You should be a student, that's your work, you have to study and actively. And also being able to sleep well. If you don't sleep well, they're using the phone the whole night. Okay, phone is with them, right? They use the whole night. But you can be tempted for adults. How much more young children who are their own brain is only for pleasure, like that, and excitement. So they can be prone to these things more than adults can even have the self-control. So having that time, and then they don't sleep at night, for the next day, they are more irritable, they're more cranky, life is stressful. Everything like that, our life is stressful. 12 years old, life is stressful. What is stressing you exactly? There are things going on that's to handle. So it is a lot, but I think having the awareness of it and putting those things in place.
Thank you so much. A lot of wise nuggets. Please let's clap for her. A lot of us, there's this thing I say that sometimes parents use phones as a babysitter. Because we don't want our children to disturb us, either you give them a tablet, or you give them a phone, or you just put on the television. The truth of the matter is that a whole lot of intentionality is required from the parents. It's our responsibility. So even if our children need these devices, it should be within set boundaries. I can remember that my son, who happens to be her son's very close friend, told me that the Chimede's phone goes off at a particular time when in his teen years. Because if we do not put those boundaries and systems in place, it will be a struggle for them. Because like she said, even us as adults, we still have those struggles. Another thing she said, just like the example Dr. Alex gave earlier, what are we modeling to them? If we are always on our phones, that means that is also what they will do. So yes, we need to go and get educated. We need to put in the work. We need to have media plans. We need to be able to understand who our children are and what their developmental levels are, so that we'll be able to guide them appropriately. Thank you so much, ma'am. I don't know how much time we have, but I just want to request, in case you have any questions for the panelists, you have a few minutes to take your questions. So you can either write them down, or you can indicate when the time is right, so you can stand and ask the questions. And then for the questions. Okay, so we're supposed to use the barcode. Is it for the link or for questions? Okay, to ask questions. So just scan the barcode up there and then use it to send in your questions. So we are going over to Dr. Alex. Now, sir, we notice that sometimes it looks as if some children or young people are more vulnerable to the temptation of going into substance abuse than others. So my question has two angles to it. The first part is, what makes some children to be more vulnerable than others? And then secondly, what practical steps can we take as parents, caregivers, in different spheres to reduce the chances of children wanting to experiment with different substances?
Thank you for that question. it is true that some teens, children, are most vulnerable to experimenting with other drugs than others because of obvious reasons. Now, I'll give you another example. There is what we call um, people predisposed, right, and people exposed to these drugs. Far back in 2009, in one of the hospitals I was working in Jos, now this 16-year-old girl had written her WAEC exam and she felt she didn't do well. So she wanted to do better in her NECO exam. So she took lots of coffee, lots and lots of coffee. So she would stay awake and then study. But what now happened to this girl was she suddenly developed some psychotic symptoms. She started hallucinating, became very paranoid, seeing things in clear consciousness where others don't see and hearing voices. She was seeing scorpions crawling everywhere. She was jumping. Now, the mom, in her own way, said her village, people from her village are against her daughter because she's writing WAEC. It's just WAEC. And she said, because they don't want progress within her family, so they are making her daughter to misbehave. And they took her to a prayer house and they prayed for over 2 weeks. But while praying, her condition worsened. So, the point I'm trying to make here is environment. This innocent girl thought, in her own way, innocent, that coffee would help her stay awake. But she didn't know, she actually abused the coffee. And she has family history of mental illness. She didn't know. Her grandmother had mental illness. So she was already predisposed to mental illness. So because she took that coffee, the coffee triggered, it wasn't the coffee that caused mental illness, but it triggered the mental illness. Just coffee. And so there are other factors. The environment that the child grows in will determine how the child is influenced in using drugs. If a child grows in an environment where drugs are available, what do you expect? They see it, right? There is an experiment of twins. It wasn't more like an experiment, but it was something that happened. There were twins, one was away. One grew up in an environment where drugs were available. The other grew up in an environment where it was just good behaviors. It was more of a Catholic home. And so that one was more groomed, did better, but his twin brother became an addict. And what that clearly means is that the environment plays a major role. So we tell parents that if you must do some of those things, yes, you may not be addicted, you may not abuse, but this Gen Z, they lack the control. They don't have the means and ability to control their use of substance. Why are you in a hurry to use drugs? Codeine, right? They know that codeine is abused. A 19-year-old that I worked with is from a well-known family whose parents were ministers, governors of states. And the parent got tired of him. He was in rehabilitation twice. And the father decided, okay, stay at home, like home arrest. You won't go anywhere, homeschooling. If he had to go out of the house, I will be there. And the only times he goes out of the house is when he wants to get a haircut. So I take him and bring him back. And we're always running drug tests every Mondays. We'll run, I'll collect his urine sample, run drug tests. And he was always passing for over 3 months. But the dad met me and said, look, is there no way this boy is beating your test? Because I don't want, he's still behaving somehow funny. I think he's still on drugs. And I said, it's impossible. There's no way he'll beat this test. But the dad kept suspecting, kept complaining to me. I said, okay, fine. What we'll do is, When I come, because I was having sessions with him 3 times in a week. When I come on Monday, the day of the drug test, please go to his room, search his room. So the boy was with me, they searched the room, they couldn't find anything. So I asked, did you check the ceiling? He said, no, I said, check the ceiling. So I went back on Wednesday. We did the test on Monday, he passed again. So I went back on Wednesday for this follow-up. He went into the ceiling. Guess what? The father brought down 286 empty bottles of codeine and empty sachets of Rohypnol. That's Rochi, that they commonly call Rochi. How did he get that? So there's a mosque in their house. So for every time he go to pray, he goes back at the boys' quarters. His friends go there, he get the bottles of codeine, they drop it for him by the fence. All he has to do is wear his jalabia. He goes to pray, he picks his bottles of codeine and he take to his room. Okay, so my question to him was, how were you beating the drug test? Okay, so I don't want to give some of these youths the. But guess what? When they were supplying him these bottles of codeine, they're also supplying urine that was pure. They were collecting urine from somebody who doesn't take substance. And he was paying for the urine. And so every time they bring the urine, he keeps it in his refrigerator. He has a fridge in his room. He stores it there. When I come home, when he knows I'll be coming, he takes out the urine, warms it, keeps it in room temperature, and then I'll collect. So how? Because I stand behind him to collect the urine sample. So how are you doing it? He said, well, there's a plastic container, he puts the urine in. So when I come, he just pretends he's urinating. He'll squeeze. I'll feel he's urinating. He'll just squeeze it into the container and pass it to me, then I'll test. And he'll pass. So the father gave up. Father said, if you are this smart, why won't you just get a degree? Right? So you can't even beat it. That's the point I'm trying to make. But the best thing is start from the home. So friends will influence a child who will use. Parents will influence a child and they will use. So these things start from within the environment. One mistake parents make is we have this sixth sense as parents, right? And then when you see your children's friends come to the house, I don't like this your friend. You should never come to the house again. That's a mistake. Because the more you ask your children's friends not to come to the house, you're asking your child to go to them. So get to know your children's friends. Allow them. They should be coming. As they come, you tend to know those friends that are good because you are parents. You know, you can see. You tend to know. And the ones that are not good friends, you find a way of cutting them off your children. But when you just start, I don't like this your friend, you should not come. I don't like. You already make your children to stop bringing friends to the house. Because I know when I take this one to them, my mom or dad will say they don't. And mostly it's moms, not dad. Mostly, it is mom that says, I don't like this. Yes, dads are not always at home. Well, even if they're at home, they don't always have time to look at the friends. So let's be careful. Instead, allow and encourage your children to come home with their friends. You see them, you know them, and you know all the friends. You'll be able to help your child understand why they should not be around those friends, but not just chasing them out. So that's something we have to take note of. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's talk for a lot still boils down to parenting. And one thing we need to understand as parents, some of the things I've taken away from the speakers is that we need to be intentional about building a relationship with our children. Because if we are not connected with them, we can't really influence them. There's a lot of voices outside, but for them to value your voice, you need to build that connection with them. So when you're speaking to them about some of these things, they'll be willing to listen. And another thing is that we need to be very watchful and we need to be very mindful. This panel session has been quite interesting, but I know that we have really spent quite some time, so we are going to be running now. I have one question for you, Sodosi, and it's still around what schools can do. I just have 3 children, and sometimes I'm like, I want to pull my hair up because the 3 of them can really try my patience. And then you see teachers that have to handle maybe 20 children within a particular space of time every day. And I wonder how they cope, because I know how much I love my children, and I still know how much they can frustrate me. And then so you see the teachers, they have 20 children, 30 children, 15 children under their care. They have academic targets to meet. So my question is, how can teachers in the school environment, considering the prevailing circumstances, be able to balance the academic and the emotional well-being of their children? And what are some low-cost practical things that schools can do to ensure that the mental health of the children are adequately taken care of when they are under their care?
Thank you very much for this question. Yeah, the school is actually a home away from home, and that's how I want us to view the educational system, the school system, and for how teachers are able to handle what goes on. For good teachers, a lot of people have lost faith in the schooling system. That's the truth because of some things that happen. But it's not a general note because there's still a lot of good schools around, and we have great educators around who knows their onions, they know what is expected. As in the education colleges, one of the major courses we take courses in counseling, and then we do psychology of the children. We learn a lot about how children develop. So a teacher that is sound, that is properly groomed, knows some expectations about mental wellness. And like I said earlier on, education is not just about the cognitive alone. Our training expects us to understand the emotional development, the social development of children. So as a school, what we do or what we should continually do is, number one, we are aware that this period of life from nursery to primary to secondary is more of the formative years of the children. And during this period, we consider all the different forms of development that you can think about. And that's why, as a school, beyond having our classes, there are lots of other programs that go on. We understand peer mentoring. So in schools, things like having peer mentors, having children paired up, and then it's one of the things we can do to help children to maintain their mental wellness in the school environment. And teachers are also mentors. There are trainings, upon trainings, emotional intelligence particularly. Then you would hear people say, oh, I went to school, my mother beats me and it formed who I am today. I really don't believe that story. Because a lot of times, we don't know that some of the things that were done to us actually hurt us. In my school, my teachers, you can't beat them because it is not the beating that makes the difference at the end of the day. So I'm saying as a school, part of the things we put in place is actually being aware that even the teachers, the staff, every one of us, we need help. Like you said, the mental issue is everybody has something, you understand? I mean, we're not talking about mental illness, they were talking about emotional well-being, social well-being. So trainings in the area of emotional intelligence and social intelligence, not only focusing on our students, but we're focusing on the adults in the school. We do that, and we have to do it at all levels of education. I mean, private, public, so that the teachers, the staff can give. You can't give what you don't have, so that we can give back and be able to even observe what is going on with our children in our environment and everything. I would also say that I'm very particular about the child protection policies. Yes, in Nigeria, we have a lot of fantastic policies. I want to say that there's been a lot of improvement in that document in recent time, but the only challenge we're having is implementation. So I would say as a school, for those of us that are educators here, and for parents as well, that we need to begin to do the practical aspects of implementing these policies. especially the area of anti-bullying, because sometimes bullying comes not just from the school, even from the home. Even asking your children to get you all A's is bullying. Because we know that we are an educational system where now everybody wants to be an IT person. Before now it was doctor, lawyer, engineering. Now it is IT, the creatives. And so we see parents keep pushing their children into a particular kind of, you must do this, you must do that. That is bullying because children are different. So I'm saying in the education sector, we need more awareness. We need to do a lot in not just for the teachers in the school, the adults in the school, but from home. I want to make an appeal to parents that it's time for us to get involved in the school process. Do not dump the children on the teachers. Do not dump your children on the school, even the best of schools. Parents need to all of us need to get involved because the assignment is huge. And there are some observations you will make from home that would help us in the school to make the difference. And then the other thing we're doing in the school that should happen in the school, please allow me to say this, is this. I thank God for the present curriculum, well, although we've not fully seen it, but then there's a focus on skills, a focus on, beyond just reading books and all the rest. So we're looking at children beginning to get involved in learning other things apart from academics. So I would also say that the way that the schools can help, because when children are engaged in acquisition of skills, it detracts them from some vices that go on and even negative peer pressure that happens in school. So a lot of all of these things, if we put them together, I think the school would actually be a very positive ground for children to maintain their mental wellness, and we would have a better society at the end of the day.
Most times parents feel that they are not part of policy conversations. In what ways can we ensure that parents are carried along in policy conversations, and how do they begin to see how they implement those policies, as it were, at that granular level?
Well, first of all, by taking the bull by the horn, by the parents getting themselves involved, by saying, I want to be part of this. If you know me well, you know that any school my children go to are part of the PTA. I will demand for a PTA to be there. I'm not troublesome, but there must be a PTA. And I will make my voice heard. I will insist there must be a safeguarding policy. There must be certain things must happen. If I'm hearing things are happening, I will ask questions. I will hold the school accountable. Because the truth is that we don't have the nice schools in the middle that the middle class families have, like Lela Blossom. At the rural areas, at the NBA schools. Who is standing up for those parents? Who is standing up for those teachers? They have no voice. So you have to take the bull by the horn as a parent. Don't wait to be invited in. You go and say, I need this. I make the demands and say, look, these things need to happen in the school. We are holding the school responsible because they're actively local parents. So we're not dumping the child on the school because we shouldn't. I hear people say, oh, I'm sending my child to school to do X, Y, Z. The child is your responsibility. But the school has their role to play, the state has their role to play, the government has their role to play, and it is you, the parent, the owner of the child, that will say, insist on certain things by saying, look, I want to have a voice. I want certain things to become normal. I want it to be a class unit in every school. Those policies, I want them to come to life. You have to speak to your counselor, your rep in the house, and say, look, all the things we're seeing in the society today, what can we do to mend them? Let's start to speak and say we want these things to become the norm. All these laws we have, we want them implemented. Talk to your pastors and to your imams, because everyone listens to them. And tell them, look, how can we have these conversations become national conversations, summits like this, where we come and learn? They need to come, most times you call it such gatherings, and you have to promote and promote and promote to have a crowd. It shouldn't be so. We as the parents should be eager to learn more on how we can make sure our children's mental health is protected. We need to be able to change the culture so that people understand and take mental health seriously. And we need to be able to say that, look, these policies that we have should not just be paperwork, but should actually become reality in our society. So really, it's for us to do the work and do the needful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that we have a community of people in this room who are going to take the bull by the horn. Thank you so much. We're coming to the end of this session, and I just want each panelist to give us a 1 minute final statement. 1 minute, and please, as you're saying, just it could be a call to action. What can one do if they find themselves in a position where some of the things that we're talking about is already happening and they don't know how to handle it? So let it be part of your 1 minute closing statement. Thank you, and it applies to everybody on the panel.
Thank you. I just don't think it is fair that I'm the one starting this 1 minute session. Now, 10 seconds are gone. I want to plead with the school owners. Mrs. Oduwusi should help us tell the school owners too. Apart from, number one, like I said, avoid checklists. I know that you have done training on autism and ADHD and things. The job of making diagnosis is for clinicians. It's not for teachers. If they suspect anything, they should point the parents in the right direction. Testing for drugs. Can we begin to do these things early? If you see a child that is misbehaving at the level of secondary schools, can we please begin to do drug tests as part of that evaluation? Policy. Let us avoid copy and paste. It is not everything that Oyinbo people are doing that we should copy. And don't beat a child, and you cannot force treatment. You cannot. We don't have the social safety networks that they have. How many whites do you see jonesing up and down without treatment? It is the blacks that you see doing that. They have a system that takes care of their people. Don't go and bring their policy in the name of one law and come and stamp it on us. In this country, if you are in trouble, it is your family that will rescue you, consent or no consent. Don't quote me outside. Because even the people that did the law, if their relation is smoking, will they leave him and be waiting for consent somewhere? A teenager is misbehaving. But 1 minute is over. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, everyone. I would say that parents should form their children in freedom. It takes time to give the child opportunities to discuss things over, reasons for actions, and let them act as appropriate, as they think fit, to review their actions and find out the reasons they go well, do not go well. Because trying to do everything for your child won't let them grow or mature as their brain should. They will decide things when they're out in university alone, as well as offering them drugs. How are they to say why? Like they question things, but they always used to doing things for them. So trying to form the children in freedom, and that requires spending the time, being available to them and discuss with them. They shouldn't have so much to share, really. That if you're actually available for them, you can share those things. And then if a child has a problem, as a parent, she said, what should a parent do? I would say, don't be in denial, as has been stressed already, and then discuss with the child and understand clearly, not in the trying to accuse them or make them afraid of even opening up to you. Let them understand, tell you what is going on, and then follow through with treatment that you are giving. Most parents come to the clinic, child gets better, we are fine now. Don't follow up treatment anymore as they should. So please follow through and don't be in denial. Once you start, definitely prevention better than cure, right? So you start on time to prevent, having time with them, observe changes in them on time, right? But then if things go wrong, trying to handle it early will make things better for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My takeaways, please do not pass on the trauma. There's this thing going around where they say trauma successfully passed on. I really hate that trend. So it's online. Don't pass on the trauma. We say, oh, this happened to me and I turned out okay. Are you sure you turned out okay? Do you not have some problems? Do not pass it on to your children. Be a present parent. I have a son in the US and I speak to him every day. I do not joke about it. Because I want to know when his voice is changing, when he seems worried, when he seems a bit anxious, and to know, is there something going on? And even if there's no video on, I know that there's something or there's nothing. So you need to be able to connect with these children, whether they're here in your home, whether they're far away, and actually be able to recognize the sign that, look, this child might be feeling a bit low. I need to travel. I need to go and see my daughter. I need to spend time with him. And you need to also pray. You need to also pray. You also need to pray for wisdom for every single child you have. Beyond the policies that are made at national, state, local government level, what policies are made in your home? Each child you have is different. Each child requires something different. You can't say this with my child as an extrovert. I will do the same thing I do for this my very introverted child. It will not work. You might tell one child, don't go out and play, and he'll be sad. Another child will be like, you made my day, let me stay inside the house. You need to know your children. You need to apply the policies that you need for your own home. But at the end of the day, no matter what you achieve in this life, if your children don't turn out well, you will be of all men most miserable. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Choma, you took the words out of my mouth. That was actually what I was going to focus on as an educator. My philosophy in education that I love so much is multiple intelligence. I believe that every child is special, every child is unique, and you cannot put one child in the box of the other child. So, what I want to say to us, both to parents and to educators, would be that let's understand that the children in our care, they are special, they are unique. Most of the mental wellness issues comes from our understanding of who that child is, and that actually informs how we begin to nurture them from childhood till date. And I want to say that we need to be more intentional about this. We need to understand that children are special. They are here for a purpose. Please, let's remove the comparison. A lot of time, this problem starts with I'm comparing my child with the other child, and then so many issues start coming up. The child is trying to find relevance in school. There are issues. There are so many things that they look at. So I will leave us with the fact that these children are special. There's a purpose for their life. They are not just here for, to be another person. And our duty as parents and educators is to help, search out those things for the things that we know and the things we would learn and help those children to harness their potential and become the best they're supposed to be. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's funny. You said she took the words off your mouth. Instead of you to just stop, you now took my own words. Well, I would say that let's encourage open communication with our children. That is very important. Don't judge. Some parents are fond of requesting or asking the children to be honest and open to you. And once they're open, you judge and start punishing. Please don't punish, because when you punish when they're honest, you are discouraging them from being open and honest. The children here as well, please, it is important you're open to your parents, and it's important you're honest. Honesty doesn't kill. Honesty is the best thing and the best ever that you would have. So speak openly to parents. Parents also encourage the children to be open with you, and please never judge them. Thank you very much. And
thank you all so much. So in the conversations you said, we have the message to the parents, we have the message to the children, we have the message to the policymakers, we have the message to the educators. There's something for everybody. One of the things I want to highlight, make sure that you are a present parent. Encourage open communication. Understand that every child is different and has to be treated on their own merits. Avoid copy and paste policy. Teach your children early to take responsibility. And I also want to emphasize on the use of these devices. A lot of issues actually stem from them today. We need to be more responsible as parents, and we need to teach our children to be more responsible with the use of their devices. I think we are going to stop here now. It's been a very wonderful conversation. Please let's celebrate to all the panelists one more time. I don't know what the structure is going to be for the question and answers. Should we go ahead now? Okay, so we are going to still take a few questions. Oh, okay, it's after the session. Okay, so once again, we want to say thank you all for listening, and thank you all our beautiful panelists. You brought in insight that were very, very, very helpful, and I hope that all of us are going home today with at least one or two actions you're going to be taking in your home and in your community. Thank you so much. Inviting the convener to join us as we take a picture with all the panelists. And convener, what God has joined together. Uncle Taiwo, are you leaving?
them a warm, warm, warm applause. Thank you so much, Dr. Alex Ogara. Thank you, Dr. Ojinta Nancy Kenechi. Thank you, Mrs. Abiola Oduwisi. Thank you, Mrs. Chioma Moma. Thank you so much, Dr. Shoyombo. Thank you so much. Wonderful panels. Children, do what you do, not just what you say. And that reminds me, I'm a mom of 2 kids. I've been a parent for going to 6 years now. I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And so I discovered that when my kids eat, they'll leave the plates on the table. Despite me talking to them, I'll tell them, oh, carry your plate, Jason, carry your plate, Giselle. But they were not taking on that, this thing. So I paused one day and I said, no, I need to find out what exactly is the challenge. And guess what? I realized that when I eat, I drop my plates. I do not carry my plate to the kitchen. And so these children, they watch us, what we do. And so the minute I started being intentional to carry my plate and intentionally, when I finish eating, I'll take up my plate and get to the kitchen. Guess what? I didn't need to talk too much. In short, this morning, while they were eating, as soon as my son was done, he just took his place without me saying anything. So children indeed do what you say, what you do rather than what you say. So thank you so much, Dr. Alex Ogara, for that. Let's appreciating, please. Dr. Ojinta Nancy, thank you for the emphasis on, the use of phone, the use on screen. I love the fact that we had an educator on the panel, and I love the fact that our moderator, she was able to emphasize that. Why? Because I discovered that schools, are participating in encouraging, this children at young age having devices. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation, and then we need to let more educators out there know that, okay, can we have what's it called, an age guideline where at particular ages these children are allowed to have their devices and allowed not to. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Ojinta. And as a please give her a round of applause, please. Thank you, Mrs. Abiola Oduwusi, for encouraging the child protection and safeguarding policy. Thank you for emphasizing that. Thank you for your contribution in ensuring that the schools in Abuja, education in Abuja are adopting this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Choma. Thank you for, helping us push on the legal front, insisting that we have policies and not just have policies, we're implementing them. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Shoyombo. Thank you for, I learned something. Safety networks. Nigeria doesn't have the safety networks that the Western climes have. I learned something. So please, while we are aware, one of the essence of this conversation is to make us, we talked about awareness. The panelists talked about awareness and then parental awareness. Is to know what are the things that are available to us in our own system and how to safeguard. And so we have learned this, that, our system is not like the Western climb. We don't have the safety networks that they have. And so what do we do to mitigate, any form of mental ill health? So thank you so much, Dr. Shoyombo. Thank you very much. So very quickly, moving along, we are just going to do this is a mental health summit, right? So we're going to relax. We have taken in a lot of information and we're about to take in more information. And so I want to help you create some space in your mind. So you have, so just very briefly, we're just going to take some breathing, relaxing techniques. Okay. All right. So very quickly, 1 second. Can we just be on our feet? Just for 1 second. Just rise up. Thank you. So shake out your legs, shake out your hand. Come on. Just, shake it up, shake it up. You sat down for too long. Thank you. Now you may have your seat. We're not done. So I want you to sit back and relax. Have your seat, please. You may have your seat. Take a relaxed position. Are we doing that? Is that your most relaxed position right now? Okay. So breathe out. I want you to let out all the breath. Let it out. Are we together? So place one hand on your tummy, one hand on your chest. Thank you. Oh, I love my audience. Yes. So you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. I'll do the counting, don't worry. And then you hold that breath for 7 seconds. I'll do the counting as well for you. And then you let it out again for another 8 seconds. So are we ready? Should I run that? Run through that? Have you let out all the breath? Okay, let's go. So you're taking breath for 4 seconds, you hold it in for 7 seconds, and then you let it out slowly. So let me make a note. Taking the breath through your nose. And then when you're letting it out, you let it out through your mouth. Okay, so we're going to do it 3 times. I want you to, begin to practice, mental health strategies and systems. Thank you. All right, so let's go. Breathe in slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let it out. Slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's do that again. How do you feel? How do you feel? Relaxed and good. Okay, let's do that one more time. Okay, so breathing through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold it in for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then let it out slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Great job. Please give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a most cooperating audience. Thank you. So very quickly, we have a presentation. And you see why I needed you to be relaxed. Driving deeper this conversation on mental health, child and adolescents, mental health. We're going to be having the presentation by 2 awesome, phenomenal young ladies. And, while they're gearing up, their names are Angela Ogukomi and Zoe Shawa. They're going to be giving us, a presentation on mental health. So relax, tighten your seatbelt, and enjoy their presentation. So give it up warmly with a round of applause for Angela Ogukomi and Zoe Shawa. Come on, you can do better. We just relax, right? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sawa Zoe, and today here with me is
Ogunkomi Angela Olua, and we're so excited to be here today. Today, we want to talk. So this morning, we will be talking about nurturing the African child and protecting minds.
But have you noticed something? Most seminars that parents go for are mostly conducted by adults or other parents. But today we're going to give it to you from our perspective, how we want our feelings to be validated and how we want you to listen without being judged.
So first of all, we need to understand what the term nurturing is. To nurture someone is to give them love, guidance, and encouragement so that they may reach their full potential.
As teenagers, we want to feel loved, safe, and valued, and our feelings matter. Just because we aren't older doesn't mean we're not allowed to feel things. Our problems should be as important. Because as we are, as our age, everything feels so amplified, our problems and our feelings.
And sometimes when we come to you with our problems, there's some replies that you give that may not seem like much to you, but to us, it feels like our feelings are not validated.
Some of those responses can be, is that why you're sad or angry? It's not that serious. Get over it. And most of the time, when we come to you with our problems, we're not necessarily looking for solutions. We just want you to acknowledge the fact that it's a problem and it's bothering us without dismissing it and making us feel like it's not important. Here are some ways you can make your child feel heard and valued.
Improve communication. Listen actively. Listen actively. Parents should listen without interrupting or judging. Let children finish speaking about their problems before you respond.
Validate your children's feelings. Acknowledge emotions. When a child says, I'm sad or I'm angry, or they don't look like they're in a good mood, say something like, I can see you're upset. Do you want to talk about what happened? Avoid minimizing. Don't say, that's nothing, or stop crying. Instead, show empathy and help them understand their feelings.
Show empathy and understanding. Put yourself in their shoes. Try and see things from the child's point of view. Be patient. Children sometimes express their feelings or emotions in confusing ways. Respond calmly instead of with anger.
Strengthen family bonds. Spend quality time together. Meals, games, or shared hobbies help to build connection. Show appreciation. Praise good behavior and effort. It encourages trust and respect. Most importantly, model good behavior because children learn from what they see. Show respect, kindness, and honesty.
Seek help when needed. Family counseling or therapy. A professional can help with communication between the family. Go to parenting workshop like this and they can help and they can teach how to, and they can teach better communication.
In conclusion, every adolescent goes through many emotions, sometimes confusing, sometimes overwhelming, but all of them are real and important.
When parents take time to listen, understand, and guide their children instead of dismissing their feelings, they build trust and emotional strength.
So let's remember that nurturing emotions doesn't make children weak. It helps them grow into confident, healthy, and understanding adults. Together, we can create homes where every feeling is heard and every child feels valued. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Come on, you can do better than that. Appreciate them. Appreciate them. They just talked back to us parents, and truly, it cannot be overemphasized. I remember just 2 weeks ago, I went for a counseling training on mental health by powered by NIDSG, and one of the things we were able to all agree on was the fact that mental health is not being talked about enough. So please, these are conversations. While they are telling us attend workshops like this, they are not wasting our time, please. They're not coming to, we're not trying to fill in, the agenda like we didn't know what to do. No. So thank you so much, Angela and Zoe. Thank you. Please give it up again once for them. Thank you. Come on. All right. So if you know that this has been an interesting conversation thus far, I want you to quickly go on YouTube, check Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit. Very quickly, I want you to like, I want you to share. If you know that we have had very interesting conversations in this space. I mean, I actually had a lot, written down from all the panelists, but I didn't just want to come and start speaking back at you and saying all that they have said again. But so many things, so many light bulb moments, and even for some that we know, it's not it cannot be said enough. It cannot be overemphasized. So please, 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 and please, if you know this is a conversation that you're benefiting from, please, I want you to go on YouTube, check Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit, like and share. And while you're at it, please subscribe. Also, on Facebook, we are at Parenting Support System. On Facebook, Parenting Support System. On Twitter, it is TT Ogunkomi. TT Ogunkomi. Okay, awesome. I said it. I love my audience. I see us bringing out our phones. So please, thank you so much. Do that. If you're not doing that, please bring out your phones. Go on Twitter, TT Ogunkomi. Thank you. Thank you. Please follow us on Facebook. We are Parent Support System. All right. Did we get that? On Instagram, we're African Psychologists. I'll take that again. African Psychologists on Instagram. Thank you. Please follow us, like, share. These are very, very important conversations that we are having here. And if you know that you have been blessed. If you know that you have gained lots of information, you've been reminded about something that you've not been doing before, please like, share, and forward to someone that will benefit from it. Thank you. All right, moving along. When Miss Oluwatoyin, and at this point, thank you so much, sir. I want to apologize to Mr. Taiwo Ogukomi. I want to apologize, sir. At this point, I acknowledge the fact that you paid the bride price. Sir. I am so sorry. Sir. I am so sorry, sir. All right. So when I was speaking with Mrs. Ogukomi, a while back, one of the things I celebrated and I said, you know what, I want to be a part of this, was the fact that I had attended workshops that were very parent-centered, very policymakers, all the stakeholders and such. But one of the things that stood out for me, is the next session we're going to be having. We have heard the policymakers, we've heard the psychiatrists, we've heard the educators come speak to us. And now we're going to be having the young people talk to us. And that's why we had that presentation. We're going to be having them, talk to us. We are going to have them share. What are their experiences? These things that you are saying, okay, it's better you hear it from the horse's mouth, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. So our next panel session, I want to invite on stage Zoe Ago. Please, a warm of applause, Zoe Ago. If you're here, please come on stage. Please let's appreciate her while she comes up. Also want to invite up stage Loveline Agbo. Loveline Agbo, please appreciate them. Come on. Remember, children do what we do rather than what we say. So please, when you appreciate them, they will appreciate themselves. They will learn to appreciate themselves. Also, I want to invite up stage Michael Ogbenjua. Come on. Appreciate them. These voices of change, future leaders, change makers, appreciate them. So I'm sure you're wondering what we're going to be doing in this session. Like I said earlier, we have heard the experts and professionals talk to us. Now we're going to be hearing the children talk back at us. And we're going to be asking them just very few questions, very important questions, to drive home this conversation. But briefly, I'm sure you want to meet them. So let's meet you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Obenjo. I'm happy to see all of you. Yeah.
Okay, so who are you? What do you do?
Okay. As I said, my name is Michael Obenjo. I'm happy to see all of you. I'm a student of Yam University, computer science. And today we are going to talk about mental health, as we all know. And I would like you guys to know my insights on mental health. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Please, did you hear him? Thank you. He's Michael Ogbenjua, a student of Birmingham University. Yes, and he would love us to hear his thoughts on mental health. So let's meet you.
Hi, I'm Zoe Agu, and I'm a student of Adolescent Montessori Adolescent. I'm a social model as well.
Awesome. She is Zoe Agu, a student, an if I'm right, SS2 student of Actresfield. Oh, please.
GSS2.
GSS. Oh, my goodness. Oh my goodness. GSS3. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. She's also a model. When I met her, she said, I'm a model. I said, you don't need to tell me. I can see it. All right, let's meet you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Loveline Agbo. I'm done with secondary school, currently waiting for my admission, and I'm a chess player.
All right, she says she's Loveline Agbo and she's done with secondary school. She's also a chess player. I know Loveling personally to some extent, and when she says she's a chess player, she's putting it lightly. So for those that are chess players, you know the ratings, and such. So maybe you can see her after that, and she will give you more in depth. She's a pro chess player. Goes on national competitions representing Nigeria on in chess. All right, so great to meet you guys. All right, so very briefly, thank you. It was really very awesome meeting you. I have a question. So, ladies first, let me ask the ladies. So, Lovely, I want you to tell us what exactly does mental health mean to you?
Thank you very much for the question. What is mental health? What does mental health mean to me? Mental health is all about my well-being, emotionally, psychologically, and socially. How I interact with people. So that's just how mental health is to me. And mental health, like my mental health, it have to be great for me to be physical. Because if my mental health is not great, I will not be physical. I will not be physically sound. My physical health will not be sound. So mental health is all about my emotional, my psychological, and my social health, my social well-being.
All right, thank you so much. She said something very, beautiful. If her mental health isn't fine, physically the output is going to be zero. So thank you for making that connection. All right, dear.
So to me, mental health is also about emotional well-being, mental well-being, right? So I feel like we will not be able to function well if our mental health isn't like, let me not say 100%, like 95% well, right? Yeah, that's for mental health.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Michael, tell us, what does mental health mean to you?
Well, mental health is the absence of illness to the mind. The way I say it, and it shows it's like the foundation to like stop you from stress and all these other anxieties.
All right. Thank you so much. So, my next question, has there been a time you didn't feel not heard? Because one of the purpose of this meeting, of this summit, of this conference, of this conversation is to let parents, create a safe space for their children to be heard, to create a space, being open to have their parents, have their children walk up to them and ask questions and share and sometimes just talk. So, have there been times that you felt not, you felt like I'm not being heard. No one's listening to me, whether by your parents, your teachers, or even your friends.
Yes, I've had that several times.
Okay, care to share an experience?
Well, okay, that was about okay, Monday when I went for training, I used to play football, and so my coach he told me to play wing. And normally I'm a midfielder. Footballers, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm a midfielder, and I was struggling in the wing. And after the training, I spoke to him about it. The reason why I spoke to him about it is because I've been going to therapy for some time now, and from therapy, I've learned to like speak my mind out. You understand, to make my people around me to understand how I feel at the moment. Yeah.
All right, all right. So you were able to, that moment, you felt that if your coach had listened to you, you would have played a better position, a better wing, right? Okay, and then you would have not been stressed. Okay, and I love the fact that you said you were able to walk up to him and share. So tell us of your experience. How was his response?
His response was good. He heard my feedback, and now I'm playing six.
Oh, great. So there was a positive response
Yes.
from sharing, from, telling him, okay, this and this is a challenge.
Yes.
Oh, great. That's awesome. That's awesome. Please let's give a round of applause to that. Positive feedback, positive response. Amazing. All right. Let's hear you. Any story, any personal experience where you felt not being heard and what happened? What did you do?
Yes, that was. I have had an experience. It was like in my just one, right? I was in hostel for the first time,
and I kind of like saw something that around my room that was not like right. So I went to report it, obviously, because I was new and I didn't know what to do. So I went to report it. And firstly, the person I reported to didn't like try to answer me, right? But when I kept reporting, I went to my parents and they made her answer me. She gave this very terrible attitude. She kind of like called everyone. Like I wanted to be anonymous, but she like kind of called everybody and told them that I was one that reported to so and so, and like that like really hurt me. And it wasn't the kind of experience I kind of um response I wanted. And yeah, like I kind of told my parents to pull me out of hostel, but like they didn't. But I'm kind of glad because now it actually played a vital role in my life. Because now I know like things to do and not to do.
All right, thank you very much. Did we hear her? Now, so the reason why we're having conversations like this, we've had, like I said, the experts speak to us. But sometimes, and I got that, resoundingly while I was speaking to Mrs. Oluwatoyi, that a lot of the time, we parents can just go on routine mode, pilot mode, and we're doing things just routinely. Whereas the people we're interacting with, these children, they have emotions, they have feelings, they are seeing things, they're observing things, but when we don't take time to listen to them, we skip over certain things, and then this becomes a compilation. We heard all the stories that our awesome panelists gave us. Things that could have been nipped in the bud at just the right time escalated to something that became unmanageable. So why are we having these conversations? This is why we're having these conversations. And beyond parents, caregivers, educators, guardians. He said he's coach on the football field. So everyone adults, everyone parents needs to take responsibility, and that's what we're saying, and we are resounding here. Please, a round of applause for her. All right, lovely. Let's hear your story.
Thank you. I have several experiences, but this particular one was when I was in secondary school. Like I was selected, I love mathematics a lot. I was selected for a competition. So when I told my dad about it, my school they wrote a letter. I took it to my dad. When I gave it to him, he was like, drop it on the table. I dropped it on the table. The day was just it was just coming close, close, close. I was not saying anything about it. I was like, will I even go for this competition? Then the day just passed. So I felt like, does it think that I'm not good? Or like what's the reason? Like he didn't give me a response. So I felt he did not consider that I'm good in school and I've been selected to go for competition. So when they have other competition that they selected me, I'm like, my dad, even if I take it to him, he will not respond. So that's just how anytime competition stuff comes up, I don't take it to him. I don't take it because if I take it to him, he won't respond to it. Then only for me to understand that he was just trying to protect me because I learned that the place we were going for the mathematics competition, it was not safe. So he was just trying to protect. Then I had another competition, which later allowed me aside the local government. So I was like, at least he would have just communicated to me. Like, let me feel like you know that I'm going for this, but this is the reason. That's it.
Amazing. Amazing. My goodness, how many of us are enjoying this conversation right here? Look at that. Her dad, communication. All he could have just said is, oh, Loveline, right now. And by the way, Loveline is from Benue State. So you can understand the terrain where she's coming from. So her dad trying to just, oh, let me protect you. Oh, the unrest, what's happening. It was just one simple communication. Whereas Loveling had gone on to start having feelings of inadequacy. And we know what that happens. Low self-esteem begins to set in. And they were wondering why we're having children that are not bold or courageous. And one of the, one of the topics we're trying to drive at is building emotional resilience in children. This is how we start. how children can have a comeback after having challenges. It starts with conversation. It starts with making them feel seen and heard. Thank you so much. Please give a round of applause for her. So my next question, how has being able to share or talk about any challenge you're going through helped? I know that you answered that. You gave us a bit of that in your first, in your story, when you were sharing your story, but I want you to talk to us more about that.
Okay, what I can say for that is communication. Communication is always key in every situation because we should we should learn to speak our minds. Like although I know sometimes it feels hard, to talk about some certain things, when it's hard. But let us learn to communicate. Because if we don't show people how we feel, and if they don't show us how they feel, there's no way we can make progress in whatever we do. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So communication, he says communication has been beneficial. Thank you. So how has sharing a challenge, how has it helped you generally? Has it been beneficial?
Sharing. Okay. So I also think communication as well, right? Because like it's also, but it's hard to open up. But I also think communication. But I also think that maybe sometimes people need to like give us like a space where we can actually communicate. Like they need to give us like an opening or something like
Okay,
that
okay.
to
So do you
communicate.
have any ideas? Tell us. What are your thoughts? What do you think can be done as a parent in school? What do you think should we have an office where, or maybe a period in the school schedule where students can come walk up to any student or any teacher rather and talk. So tell us, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts. So, firstly, I think parents need to know their children. That's like one of my main things. And then I have this thing in school where we do advisory meetings where we get to, there's a particular person that is assigned to us where we're allowed to talk to them. Yeah, I think schools need to have like not maybe like a therapy something or a place where people are comfortable enough to talk to a particular person and confident enough to know that if they tell this person this thing, it can stay like confidential, but their voice will still be heard. And yeah, that's basically what I think.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Abiola Oduwusi, as the educator championing championing the right policies in the education space, I believe that was channeled to you. I had a meeting sometime with a what's it called? A public school counselor. And what I discovered was that I'm not sure if it's all the public schools, but there was something she said they were doing. They were having what is called mentorship, and how that students are assigned to certain teachers, and there is a particular time allotted in the school period timetable, where the students actually go talk to this particular teacher, is documented as well. And I was like, brilliant, so brilliant. I sincerely didn't know if that was being done in the private space or private sector. I had to ask, my goodness, when was this started? And this was right here in Abuja. I was really wowed. So I believe such things should be, extended. So for the parents, a lot has been said. Our panelists have said it. Listen to your child, create that safe space to allow them talk to you. Know your child. And she said that, know your child. Thank you so much. Please let's appreciate her. There's something she said I really feel like we should emphasize. And I believe Mrs. Stroma emphasized that. She said, no judgments. No judgments. When these matters are brought to you, make sure you don't judge these children. So we are hearing their voices. They are representing their classmates, representing their students, their fellow colleagues in school. And she's saying that we want to talk. While we are still trying to learn how to talk to you, please, can you not judge us? Can you please keep what we tell you private? So, are we going to move on from this conversation to do that? How many parents and teachers and guardians are with me? Please, if you are with me, let me see your hand. Thank you so much, because we need to take action. It's not just coming here to hear, we need to take action. So please, while they learn communication, while they learn to share, while persons like Mrs. Oluwatoyin do their job to encourage young people to share. Let us, on the other side, make sure that we do not judge them and we keep whatever they share with us private and confidential. Thank you so much. All right, over to you, Loveline. What do you have to say about that? How sharing has been beneficial to you?
How sharing have been beneficial to you? Actually, with Sharon here, I shared with her about personal development. I'm someone that loves growing. Like, I love, like, let me just be getting better daily. So, like, if I can't get, like, the people around me, they are different, and I am different. The way they live their life is different. So when I met her, she was like, it's not bad being different. You can be unique. But the fact that you want to grow, you need to read books. Read books. So she recommended some books to me, whereby I need to learn and unlearn the things that I think is good. So I just need to learn. And the book, like, it actually changed my perspective. Like the way I handle challenges, situation, even my emotions, like not letting my feelings to come over some things. So it actually helped. To me, it helped. I've seen a lot of improvement where she talked about managing things and how I won't get stressed out like during the day. So when I shared it with her, what she recommended, it helped me a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please let's give her a round of applause for that. My last question actually has been answered, and that is what do they have to say to parents and guardians about creating a safe space to listen to their words? Zoe she led the conversation already, but I'll still love to hear your thoughts because this panel is about you. So please, you have the floor. So lovely, let's hear you again. What do you have to say to parents, to teachers, to educators, to guardians to create safe spaces to listen to us? And if you have any ideas that we can implement, please share.
Okay. What I love the parents and the guidance of teachers to one, they should they should open up to the child. Like the child, like I am the child should understand that they are safe with the guidance, the teacher, the parents. Because some children, they actually like they are shy, they will not tell their parents what's going on with their life. So they just need to like, I am your safe place. Come to me anytime. Even if it's trouble, come to me. Even if you are feeling low, come to me. And parents should also notice their children when there's changes. It's very important. Like when your child is down today, you should be able to go up to the child. What's wrong? Know what's the problem. And if it's something you can address, obviously you should help the child to address it. So we should help, like the parents, they should help the children in addressing problems, not insulting, judging, comparing them. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. Please give a round of applause for her. Please, we're not wasting time here. I want to share a personal experience. My mom was such of blessed memory. She was such that while growing up, you know, I was the first, I am the first daughter. I couldn't approach her. My mom, I understood, I mean, later in life, I understood that, okay, she had, as a first daughter, this is what you have to achieve. I got all that. But as a child then, I didn't get that. I needed people to talk to. I wanted someone to talk to. I wanted to talk to my mom, but I just couldn't. And my mom was someone that, I would get 200 and something in WAEC or in JAM. And then she's like, no, your mates that had 300, do they have two heads? And immediately I'm like, oh, mommy, and they just tell me, well done for the 200 that I got. That judgment, judgment is very, very critical, very, very critical. And for a very long time, it affected and drove the relationship I had with my mom until I gave birth to my first child before we began to repair our relationship. So why go through over 20 years of schism in a relationship when it could have been better? So please, these are not just empty words. We're not trying to fill up the agenda. Please, they are airing their views. They are they're sharing their point of view, and I want us to take home these things. Thank you so much, lovely, for that. All right, sweetheart, let's hear you.
So, like I said already, we need to have like parents need to give us an open space. And like you already said, we don't want you to judge when we start telling you. And another thing is when you tell us that we should be open up, we should be opened, or we should tell you what's troubling us. And then the next thing is that you start shouting at us or beating us for telling you the truth. That can also like drive us away from speaking to you again or speaking to you about this type of things. So yeah, we need a space where we know that you'll be confidential, non-judgmental, and you actually listen to us. Because sometimes when you talk to somebody, the next thing they'll tell you is you should go and pray or go to Jesus Christ. Like, no, it doesn't.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Please, let's give her a round of applause. You know, I made a note here from Dr. Shoyombo's session, and what I could get from that session was balance. And he says, see, don't run away from medical treatment. While we are, as Africans, Nigerians, we love prayer. While we are praying, can we hand over practical tools to these children? And that's what she's saying. Don't just tell me to go and pray. Like, I need, what do I do? How do I move on from here? So please, parents, teachers, I want to believe our voices, their voices are being heard. Practical situation. What can the child leave this place with? What can they take from there? While you are praying and doing all the background things, what is the action to take? Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Zoe, for that. Thank you. All right. You know, and this, I believe this is, Dr. Alex mentioned this. He said, as a parent, let them allow their friends to come in. I remember in secondary school, I had very awesome parents. My mom was if she sees you with a boy, in shorts, from the gate, she has started shouting, screaming, and embarrassing you. But my dad was bring your friends. I remember scenarios when we didn't have phones. You know, we are not Gen Z now that have phones, that have access to phones. In my time, we didn't have phones in secondary school. So, you know, your friends, when you're leaving, you exchange numbers of daddy and mommy. I won't give the numbers of my mom. It's my dad. And my dad comes home, he's like, oh, Sharon, one of your friends called you, John, and all of that. I was confident to give my father's number because he would come back and he's like, oh, I told them you're going to call back. And he sits down and starts looking through the phone and says, okay, this is the number, yeah, call back. He was that intentional. I had confidence in bringing my friend. Anytime it was so bad that if I knew my dad was going to be around, I would give my friends that time, tell them my dad is around. But if it was my mom, my goodness, don't. My friends, once we get to the gate of my house, bye, do as if you don't know me. So why? Why? So parents, I hope you are hearing their voices. All right, Michael, over to you. And I want you to speak to, because you have Loveling and Zoe have spoken to parents. And so that it doesn't seem as if we're shouting at them. So let's pardon them. Don't talk to them again. Let's talk to, other caregivers and guardians. And I love the fact that you do other things outside of the home. You play football, you have a coach and all of that. So please talk to those people.
Okay. On the practical we did earlier, it shows that children were like phones, and the storage in the phone is zero at this point. So now everything around us, we are constantly accumulating, yes, absorbing knowledge all the time you get. And I think what parents, coaches, and other guardians should do is look out for where your children are getting or where they are absorbing knowledge from.
Wow, profound. Please, a round of applause. My goodness, I didn't know that I had intelligent panelists. Please, if you know your knowledge has stepped up, you are encouraged to go back into the society and do better. Please appreciate them. Appreciate them as they walk back to their seats. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lovely. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Michael. It's been such an interesting conversation. Thank you so much. God bless you. All right. Thank you. Thank you once again. I want to believe we're not tired, right? How many of us agree with this has been worth the while? How many of us agree that this has been worth a while? All right. Okay, so very quickly, we're going to be moving on to questions and answers. And so I'm going to give you some minutes to ruminate on the questions you want to ask, and I'll come back to you. Thank you. One more minute. Think about your questions because I want to believe you have questions. Opening, closing remarks, feedbacks, you know. So please, can an usher help me here? So we apologize. We couldn't extract your questions from the barcode. We sincerely apologize because of network. So, but we're going to be handing over the mics to you. So if you have any question, please, any question, feedbacks, even from our panelists, please. Some things that were said that as they were talking, you just remembered. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mrs. Choma.
That has stayed for this amount of time. It's a very important conversation going on. And something I just thought about again with mental health is the digital world, which is really the game changer in today's world. And our children are grappling with a lot. We did not have the distraction that they have. We did not have the level of infiltration into their minds that children have today. It's from TikTok to Snapchat to, it's a lot. And you know, I write about that in my book. My book is at the back. I write about that, about how we're protecting our children from the outdoors, but we're forgetting to protect them from what happens inside. I can't put a TV in my child's room because you don't even know what's going on. But we're giving them this mobile device, giving them everything. And I thank God for schools like Leila Person that it is they need to get on board with tech, no doubt about it. But there must be safeguards, there must be an appropriate time, and we need to help them protect their mind. I'd rather my child is outside playing football and learning social skills. He will fight with the neighbor's child, they will settle, they will, he's learning. Conflict resolution is being learned there than being holed up with a tiny device that can destroy his mind if care is not taken. A wonderful gift. So just to encourage parents that please, as we're giving our children these wonderful tools and gadgets, let's caution them. Let's give them examples. Let's tell them the end, the pros and the cons. We all use it. Let's equip them, adequately. And for the children here, when your parents tell you these things about devices, or you're always pressing phone, don't think they're just trying to nag. I know at times they're not even doing the right thing. They are pressing phone as well. I tell you not to press phone. But please, it's for your own good. Try and be careful about what you do online, what you share online, what you're looking at online. Ask yourself, if my mother was looking at me now, would I swipe on this page? Would I click? Be careful what you share online. There are good things online, there are good things in the tech world, but there are terrible, terrible predators that can destroy people. So just to add that, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for Mrs. Choma. Okay, we have another. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It has been a very wonderful session. Thank you very much, Mrs. Tony Ogunkomi. This is quite a nice one. I participated in the online session the last 2 days. To be honest, I was just telling my friend here that if I don't want to stand up from my seat, not to miss any. Even today, I've been sitting, I was feeling weary. I don't want to miss any part. Anyway, my question, I know this question was asked online, and somebody was asking about they are talking about age appropriate to give phone to child. And I think somebody said 16. The instructor said 16. Then they were talking, they were not saying that even though you have given phone to your children, maybe 12, maybe 13, maybe 10, it's not too late to start, to have a solution. But that solution was not mentioned. So I wish to know. You understand? Because what she just said that you can still adjust. So should the phone be withdrawn, or is there any way you manage it? That's my question. Thank you. Did you get the question? Okay.
Okay, so in regards to phone, already they said 16, but even at that 16, there's no guarantee, right? So the most appropriate thing is, okay, can you hear me? The most appropriate thing is, even if it's age, you said 13 or 12 or 11. So I'll give you an instance. I have a 13-year-old. Okay. All right. Oh, good. So I said I have a 13-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son and a 9-year-old. The 9-year-old doesn't have a phone. And I made her understand that you're not ready to have a phone now, but we can share my phone whenever I'm home. And we do that. For my 13-year-old, she has her room with her younger sister. My son has his own room. Yes, not leaving TV sets in your children's room is a good idea. There should not be a TV set in the room. But when they have phones, no matter how you think, you tell them, don't do this, don't do this. Truly, the best thing you do, there should be unannounced. So I just walk into their room. Like once or twice or 3 times in a week. I just go to do inspection. I call it inspect. I just walk into their room. So I ensure don't have password in your phones. That's one. That's the first rule. Whenever I pick your phone and I find password, I seize the phone from you. So no password. So they all know there can't be password. My daughter said, okay, daddy, I'll add password to my phone, but I'll give you the password. I said, no, what are you hiding? Your phone, you don't take it to school. It's always in the house. So who is going to go through your phone? And why do you care who goes through your phone? So I just go to their rooms unannounced and I collect their phones and I check. And I go through the history, what they browse, right? There are certain apps that I have control. So before they even download an app, I get a message in my phone that asks me permission if she can have that app in her phone. Right? So I have to allow her access to that app. And I go through the app. Okay, what kind of app is this? Why do you need it? And when they tell me, fine, you can have it. But no matter the age, all you have to do is ensure that you build the trust between your child and yourself. They should understand why you need to go through this. Because the main thing that happens is in recent times now, masturbation. There's porn addiction, and that is what you find a little child going through porn, and it's so bad. One of the major things we go through these days is porn and masturbation. Pornography. So they should understand these things, but it is best always just go in, collect their phones, and inspect. In fact, so for me, 9 p.m. every day, they submit their phones. It used to be 8 p.m. But now it's 9 p.m. because I said I don't need any house help again. So most of the chores now, I ensure they do them. So they are always busy when they're back from school. Do your chores. And then when there's homework, now at least parents, they don't have to come to you to say, help me. The phones are there. They Google and they, do their assignments or homeworks and they bring for you to inspect. So just go through their phones, have an agreement with them, understand, and then there should be time they submit the phones to you. You have access to their phones. That 9 p.m. that they bring them, whatever time you choose or agree with them, once they submit the phone, if that is when you want to check their phones, you check and you look at everything. I tell you, you'll be amazed at how now things will get in order. But it's difficult to have a balance in that regard. But just have understanding and trust. And that is it. Whenever you find something, yes, don't punish. Don't be punitive. Don't punish. Make them understand why they should not have such apps or go through, websites, some certain sites. Just make them understand. But most importantly, ensure that you agree, right? There should be trust between you and your child, and then you should agree on the time they use their phones, etc. That would help, but you can hardly balance it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Dr. Alex. We have another reaction.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, for when it comes to phone use, it's important that you have what we call the media guide in your family. Let your children know what is expected of them. What age are they meant to start using the phone? When they start using the phone, what time are they meant to drop the phone? How many hours are they meant to use the phone for? Information they cannot put online and all that. So one of the books I've created is called the Internet Family Guide, whereby you have a guide. Your children they're all involved in you creating this guide when it comes to phone usage or screen or internet usage. Because what you don't put a guide for, abuse is inevitable. So for your child that is already using a phone and you didn't put all this guide for them before, it's very important that you have a conversation with the child and let the child understand that I made a mistake, yeah, but this is how it's going to go going forward. Going forward, you're going to use your phone within these hours. These are the sites you can go to, and you should. So when you're having this conversation with your children, let them understand the reason behind the conversation. Let it not be you giving them rules and regulations. Rules without understanding brings rebellion, but rules with understanding brings or breeds a responsible child. Thank you so much.
So much, ma'am, for that reaction. A round of applause for Mrs. Oluwatoyin. Okay, we have more reactions, but very quickly, she mentioned that she has a media guide, and so at this point, I just want to encourage us. Behind us, to your left, I believe, is the book stand, and our convener, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogukome, has her books on there for display at very affordable rates. Please help yourself to them before you step out. So thank you.
So my question is based on smoking. Why do people like smoking?
Is that all? Okay, go ahead.
And apart from lung cancer, what else can smoking lead to?
All right, please, who wants to answer to that? She said, why do people like, oh, awesome. Dr. Ojinta has a reaction.
So I'm very happy to hear that question from that child and the little voice. Why do they like smoking? Very good question, because there's something that people that smoke get from it. No one just smokes because they just smoke. There's something good. So everything that you do sometimes gives you some form of pleasure. So you eat food, you play a game you like, it gives you pleasure. Your brain will release a hormone called dopamine, okay? Like a feel good hormone, it makes you feel good. Now, when people smoke any substance, even from coffee, some people just take their tea and they just feel good, you know. So when something gives you a kind of thing that you don't experience every day, right? Your brain says, "Wow, this is so nice. Let's have it next time." That's just a simple principle of enjoying substances, and then it progresses to the point of being an addiction. So you cannot even say no. And at the point, it begins to affect everything else, takes more time, trying to spend time using the substance, recovering from the effect of the substance, trying to look for it more and more. But it all began from the interest, truly, something nice. For example, now I'm having problems, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling anxious. Say, this thing, oh, guy, let's take this thing, the edge. Because as you go take the edge off for you, you feel more relaxed and calm. You're confident to talk to a girl in your class. So many reasons to say, wow, benefits, right? So the benefits are there, but then it leads to a change in the brain. Your brain will give off dopamine that you like, and it gives off dopamine at a higher level than ordinary things that will give you pleasure. I mean, you eat a nice food, you get a nice sport, you feel good, but then the dopamine goes like a very serious hit, like wow, out of this world experience. And it goes the same way for higher drugs of abuse, right? Some people start with cigarettes, after a while, progressive marijuana, there to higher drugs, crack, cocaine, try this one, wow, out of this one experience. So people actually like it because it makes them feel good. Now, the next thing is, what's the harmful effect of getting used to substances and then they give you pleasure? So the addiction I already mentioned. So before, ordinary, a person would think of the academics, family life, their friends, praying, different things they want to do. After a while, that pleasure, seeking that substance, takes over everything. Just start doing poorly in school, at home, isolated, always on their own. And when the high from the drug drops, they'll feel sad. They start having low mood. And people actually have drug use problems, always have dysphoria, they always feel emotionally unstable most times because they can't understand what's happening to them now. Their brain is now used to being high. So being low is now boring. Everything to them is boring. It's boring. I'm like, because now they are used to being high. So that makes them begin to function more poorly in different areas. And of course, they have more mental health issues, anxiety, depression. You might take a drug today to help you cure anxiety in quotes, but then in the end, you have addiction and you have worsened anxiety and all that. So really, there are problems to it. But as you said, people look for something nice in them for one reason or the other. So the aim is trying to prevent them from using that as a means to treat their problems. You can find other ways to handle your problems, family, and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. More reactions. Okay, we have a hand up there.
So one question I have is like, what advice can you give to somebody who's always like bottling up their feelings and like just goes to relying on substances to like feel high and get away from the world instead of like talking to other people because it makes them isolated and like it also makes them like at one point feel depressed and like stay in their house. So what advice can you give to somebody who's going through that?
Any reaction? She's asking, how can you counsel someone? What do you tell someone that bottles up their feeling a lot, and resorts to substance use and abuse? So how do you tell that person to share and?
All right. That also begins from the kind of family setting. There are family settings where you're not able to freely express yourself. That is why we encourage that every individual, we encourage that every individual should ensure, like parents, should ensure that the open communication is a thing of practice within the home. So for you to express yourself, if you bottle up things, it is not healthy. That is why, no, not that is why, but although it is found that girls and women do better in expressing themselves than boys and men. Boys and men tend to bottle up things than girls do. That is why it's difficult for a man to go and cry about his problem, but a woman can go to her friend, express herself. You can, even if you are, is that your mom? Ask her, if your grandmom is still there, does she run to her grandmom to cry to her or complain? Aha. What about your dad? Does he run to his mom to complain? Probably not. Do you understand? So it is easier, but just know it, whoever is listening, that expressing yourself is healthier than bottling up things. It is not good for you because it leads to other things like what? Depression, anxiety disorders, and what have you. Say? Yes. So adults, you help the child in understanding. Encourage them to be open. Encourage your children to be. There are parents that children will come to tell them something. And what are you saying? Those who are on the phone. So, is that what you came to tell me? I beg, I'm busy. Later. You are discouraging the child from being open. Everything your child comes to tell you is important to them. That is why they run to you. Why? Because they have confidence in you, they trust you. So always listen to them. Don't be too quick to dismiss them. When your child tells you something and you think it's not even worth it, don't discourage them. Just encourage them to tell you more. And that way, also, they will be open and end up not bottling things up. So,
Let me just say that since you are aware maybe that someone has a problem she's not sharing or he's not sharing, you can seek help with other adults and say, I think my friend is going through something. That is a very good way of being your neighbor's keeper. Okay, you can't help the person to say, go and talk, but it's not what to talk. Also can report. Because that's actually a good thing you're trying to do for the person. And then maybe an adult can now say, okay, I think actually there's a point there. Let me call the child and talk to the child. And so I think don't keep it to yourself and say, she's not responding, she's always moody. Tell somebody, tell a parent, a trusted adult, or a church leader or something. Yeah, that's good. Well done.
Okay, we have a contribution, please. Okay, we can see. Okay, we have a question over there.
Good day, all. And I want to thank Mrs. Tony for convening this. Actually, I wouldn't have been here. It's just the topic. I know it's very important as a parent because having a teen, in fact, my son just entered teenage age, So I felt it's very important because most times we feel we know that's the mistake we make. We need to keep learning. We know need to keep learning. We need constant reminder because I've learned a lot, but I need constant reminder about these things. So what I want to say is maybe talking to our children and my co-parents to say that please I'm here standing on behalf of the parent to say sorry because I feel it's very important. We need to learn as parents, we need to learn to say sorry when we're wrong, to say sorry for the things we've said wrongly, the things we've not said, the things we've done wrongly, the things we're supposed to do that we have not done. Because I think it starts from there. Just they should not give up on us. Please, they should keep coming to us and understand that whatever we do, it's coming from a place of love, that we actually really want them to get there, that greatness that God has destined for them. So they should not give up on us. We are work in progress. Everything we do for love. This is not an excuse, but we are sorry, but we keep getting better. But they should know that we love them and we appreciate them. They are awesome, each and every one of them. I see every child and I see the amazing gifts in all of them. So thank you very much, Mrs. Tony. And to my co-parents, let's learn to be apologetic. I think it's very important.
Thank you so much. Profound thoughts. Awesome. Looks like the conversation is getting heated. Ma, do you want to share your contributions? All right.
This is good afternoon again. It's not a question. I just want to talk to our children, our boys, girls, teenagers in the house. It's very important because we've been talking to parents, talking to caregivers, a lot of focus on us. But I want to say this to you, and I'll take it from the Bible. The Bible says that you are, I really need every child, every young person here to hear this. You are wonderfully, you are fearfully, specially made. So much that you can't afford to just do anything, behave anyhow. I need you to know and understand that you are special, each of you. Forget about, oh, somebody comes first in class. We have pressure as young people. So sometimes you compare yourself with the next person that everybody's saying is doing better. Don't mind us teachers. Don't mind us educators. Don't even mind us, your mommies and daddies, when we do that to you. But what I have discovered over time is that each of you, you are a rare gift. You are special so much that even if someone doesn't tell you, if people don't affirm it around it, believe it for yourself. And you have so much inside of you to give to your world, so much that you cannot afford to do drugs. You cannot afford to have a low self-esteem. Believe in yourself, please. We can say all of this, we're apologizing to you, but sometimes I also know that you don't listen to us because you would rather listen to your friends. But any friend that is telling you anything less than students, are you listening? Any child, any student, any peer telling you that you're not good enough. You know what I tell my students? If someone insults you, the only person that knows that you're insulted is you and the person that insulted you. It doesn't stay on you. So I tell my students, trash it, drop it in the dustbin. It's not yours. So please know that you're special. Even if at home you feel unspecial, I'm telling you today, you are special. And there's so much. You are a rare gem. And for gems, it takes a lot of pruning. So when we do the correction, take it that I need that correction. But please don't take the substance. If you're feeling low, talk to someone, talk to an adult, an approved adult around you. And on your own, you know what is right and wrong. That's what I've discovered about children. You know, but most of the time, the tendency is that you want to go the other way because it's fun, it's interesting. The other child is doing it. So I just want to beg you and tell you that you are special. And another thing that scripture says, it says there's a purpose for your life. That which God wanted you to be has already been written out. You have a beautiful purpose. So I want to beg you that for the sake of the fact that you are here specially for a special assignment, what you have to do, no one else can do it. And I mean it. I'm not trying to psych you up. But a lot of people will die without becoming all that God wants them to be. So please, my dear students, just know that you're special. And your duty is to, join hands with the adults in your life to ensure that that special thing that you have is able to show forth and shine to the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are out of time. But we'll take one question from a student. Just one question. He raised up his hand. The young man behind. Miss Faith?
So my question is, for the parents that constantly compare their children and are not willing to hear them out or listen to them, how do you communicate? How do you tell them that, oh, this isn't, it's negative? How do you tell them that it's negatively impacting me? Basically, yeah.
Does anyone want to react to that? He's asking for parents who do comparison between children. How do you want to?
Okay, I think the question is that how do you get through to parents that they compare and yet they don't want to listen? Yes, so what you do is I always advise that your parents will have people they listen to. So it may be grandma, it may be someone in your circle. And even if you want to present it, you must present it respectfully. Let them know that I've been trying to get through. Because if you cannot get through, you can't get through. And the two of you, you see that there's ego, she's not responding, she doesn't want to listen. So, but you have to go about it in a look. Number one, okay, I've said you can look for someone she listens to, maybe grandma, maybe. Then another time is the time you bring up that discussion with them. Because as a teenager or an adolescent, you must be emotionally intelligent as well. If all the time you want to bring up this discussion is when they are tired, is when they are in a very bad place, that conversation cannot fly. So, but if you know the good times, and you go respectfully and politely, Daddy, there's something I've discovered. You compare me. Even if they shout, I say, no, I don't. You've passed the message. But if there's no change, then you can look for adults around that they listen to. And don't go about telling everybody about your parents. Because sometimes you think your parents are the worst until you meet another parent. Do you understand? So just look for someone and say, I am having this. Or your mentors, they will know how best to reach them and work with them. I hope I've answered that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. All right, a round of applause for ourselves. We have applauded all the panelists, all the speakers, the conveners. I want you to give yourself a round of applause. Come on, come on. You have a purpose. You are here on earth for a purpose. Your life has meaning. Give yourself a round of applause. So just one assignment and I'll be out of your face. Again, on Facebook, we are Parenting Support System. Please follow us on Facebook. On Twitter, we're on TT Ogukomi, TT Ogukomi on Twitter. And on Instagram, we are African psychologists. African psychologists. African family psychologist. I beg your pardon. African family psychologist. And on YouTube, please look out for the Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit. And please like, share, and subscribe. And it was such a pleasure to be your host. I am Sharon Paul Ojinibo, and I say that when I'm not ministering to youth and young adults, ministering the word that is, when I'm not counseling clients, I am elevating your event to an 8-star rated status. All right. Please, a warm welcome for the convener as she gives her closing remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Wow. The conversation has been great, right? I just want to say thank you to everyone, every one of you, starting from my husband. Thank you, honey. Thank you so much to everyone who's been here. Thank you. I really want to appreciate you. I want to appreciate Pastor Chichi, the host in terms of House on the Rock. I want to say thank you to all the speakers, the virtual speakers, the panelists. I want to say thank you so much. You guys were awesome. And I want to say a big shout out to my daughter, Angela Olua. She's been part of the back, she's been doing the back end preparation. I want to say thank you to Faith, my assistant, and to all the volunteers. I want to say thank you. Now, I want to say especially thank you to all the schools that came, starting with Bankis International School. Thank you so much. Then Archersfield Montessori School, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to the first school that came. Thank you so much. North 100 School. Who knows Mrs. Irene here? Irene Bangwell. This is our school being represented here. Thank you so much, everyone. And I want to say thank you to Lela Blossom School, Mrs. Abiola Oduwosu, that's our school. And she also came with the students. Now to the parents that came with our children, thank you so much. To all of us that registered online, and we also came here, thank you so much. Guess what? We are prepping for Summit 3.0 coming up next year. It's going to be bigger, it's going to be more fun, and it's going to be more interactive. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. So we can go. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah. Dr. Chiso.
Well done.
Please, I'd like to have pictures with all the students. All the students still around. Please, let's go outside. I want to have a picture with all of you. Please, thank you.